Welcome to Blink 155, the most seeker-sensitive Blink 182 podcast on the internet. Maybe the second most. I don't know. Some of the other ones are.
Whenever you do that, it ruins the idea. And this happens every time we say, "Okay, let's not do inside jokes the whole time." But calling it seeker-sensitive is, I think, an inside joke.
Okay, but what I was thinking
specifically for evangelical Christians,
I would make a joke as a nod to the true evangelicals amongst us, and then we'd move into a fully seeker-sensitive episode. Like, no one's going to turn off the episode. Now they have. But no one, previous to you fucking this all up, Josiah, no one was going to turn it off in the first 2 seconds, and we could have just moved on, and then everyone would have known that we knew. And instead, it's a whole thing now. Should we start again?
Okay, well, if you want to do like a hat tip to the true heads, what would you say? Like, what do you think is your hat tip to the true heads?
I already did it, man. That's it. Don't ask me. I'd be like Jake the Snakester. Like, I don't know anything that happens in the podcast. I'm so on the outside of pod culture.
You really are. You just kind of swoop in. You I don't know.
I'm like
I can't even think of like.
I'm like a cool uncle. I'm like I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm like the divorced dad. Like, I don't want people to know what's coming up. Who like just gets the kids on weekends and like takes them go karting and stuff.
Yeah,
you know? Like, I just get to be awesome, and otherwise I'm out drinking with my friends. Like, I have the most perfect relationship to this project.
That's true, and I am, I guess. The divorce court in this scenario.
Right, yeah. You're working
decide
every
what goes
day.
where.
Yeah.
I'm not the single other half of this relationship. You'll notice I kept it gender neutral because I respect all forms of marriage. But
what about polygamy? Where do you land on polygamy?
Moving along.
Are there polygamists? Like, do we have? I guess there's like some faction represented by like at the very least like an individual listener or two to this podcast.
I think the entire nation is one big polycule. Obviously,
it's true. Yeah.
At this point,
we're going to celebrate the end of the podcast with like a society style, just like flesh melding party.
Oh, man. That would be so sick. Someone Photoshop that, please. Put our faces on the screenshot.
Put my face
society.
in the butt. Yeah, exactly.
And then somehow add it to Sam's LinkedIn. I would love to see
if
that.
If you can. You were mentioned in the news. Oh, no.
But the thing is, there's a lot of podcasts vying for everyone's attention, apparently. And I mean, it's so weird whenever you hear about people talking about how many podcasts there are, and you just think, like, really? Like, who would give a fuck about any of these podcasts? And I'm not doing a bit. It's because I was just driving around mailing the last of this fucking merch that has just, like, completely taken over my life in every way. I think I finally mailed the last of it until everyone starts messaging me and telling me that I sent their package to Australia by accident or whatever.
Yeah, all the packages are going to Australia. Remember how much shit you gave me for like using a company for the first round of merch?
It's true.
You see why,
it is
though.
True.
It was very, very wise of me.
It was wise in that sense. Perhaps not financially as wise.
It was financially unwise, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Champagne Sammy way. Is like, I'll just flick my fingers and then it'll be done.
Oh, if I can pay someone to do a thing that I don't particularly feel like doing.
Do you ever pay someone? I actually want to know this. Don't get mad.
God, what is about to happen? We're 3 minutes into this podcast, man.
Have you ever paid someone to clean your house?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Hell yeah. Like on the reg or?
Like, once a month, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I want to lie to you. Couldn't we have had this conversation before we started recording?
You started it.
You left right to listen. They use all eco-friendly products. It's very good.
The thing is, I think it's probably more common than I realized, but first of all, I've thought about doing that before.
I did, and then I started talking to people, and I think it's like a lot of people's like dirty secret.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. Or clean secret. I was going to say, I've thought about doing it before because I hate cleaning, obviously. But then I found out that you have to, like they don't, like, put your toys away for you, so to speak. You still have to, like, clean your house for them to come clean.
You have many toys. Like, you have to put away all the Funkos that you've been, like, having little, true. Like, now here comes Alfred E. Newman to fight. I don't know what other pop culture thing. You're like, what Funkos do you even have? Because you don't like all the shit that, like, they make Funkos of. Like, you don't have that Chewbacca Funko. What do you, like?
No, I have, like, Ren and Stimpy ones, right. But I have to get rid of them them because John Kay is literally a pedophile. So I need to, that's where
your toys are exclusively made by pedophiles. I just want to make this clear that that's your.
I'll collect Funkos to a point, but pedophilia is far enough.
Wow, a bold stance from Blink-155.
But what I'm saying is, so now I do clean that. We do clean the house like enough to the point of I guess we could hire a cleaner. But because the other thing is, we have been getting rid of a lot of shit lately, and I'm just noticing that there is just dust caked on every surface of the entire house. And we always think we have allergies, but it's just because we're breathing in our own dust at all times. Because I don't really understand dusting. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. How do you dust?
I don't know, man.
Like,
I paid someone to do it.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't solve it myself, and so I found a service that solved dust for me.
Oh, I love that this is happening right now.
I fucking hate this. So podcasts are a thing that you're sick of? Like, this was the bit that you were trying to move into?
No, it's not even a bit. So I was driving to mail these packages using a service called Chit Chats, which shout out to them. Very cheap to mail things to the U.S. from Canada. But our car is like so shitty, like everything else we own.
Wait, why are you using a service and not just like the mail?
Because Chit Chats takes all of your mail. You really want to know? It drives it across the border and then mails it through USPS, and it's literally half the price.
That is honestly a great service. Is there some sort of code that we can provide people with for advertising for them? For all the Canadians that listen to this podcast.
Oh, shit. You know what? There actually is a referral code.
But it's going to be like your name? It's going to be like Josiah.
Yeah, when I logged in, I think there was...
Don't look up a Chit Chats code, man.
So I was driving to mail all these packages, and I was listening to CBC radio because our car sucks so fucking bad. We can only listen to like the burnt CD that's stuck in there. That includes the Succession theme song is on the burnt CD. Yes. It feels really cool to drive around listening to that.
Oh, it's back soon.
I know. This weekend. Oh my god, that's what I want to plug. Watch Succession season 2.
Do you think we can get the Culkin on the pod?
Only on HBO. Yeah, probably. But I was driving and they were doing this like it was during the like CBC Cruise Home show or whatever. Where like also I was recently in Montreal, as we know, and I was listening to the CBC in a car to go there. And I swear to God, it's the same guy, but he was just talking in French. Like, do they just get the same guy to do the local drive home show in every city?
Yeah,
because he was still talking about
Rich
Calgary.
Fry from Buck 65. Buck 65.
I love that guy's name is Rich Stir Fry. Basically,
it is
so good,
a delicious combo.
So they were doing like. Oh, summer listening for, what we have our podcast expert on. What will be the summer listening for the best podcast? And so this girl from like CBC's like podcast, CBC Radio 3 podcast zone or whatever the fuck, some CBC podcast vertical was like listing off all these podcasts you should listen to. And I was like, okay, obviously I was mad that they didn't talk about Blink-155 because like if anything you should be listening to in Lake Country, it's a podcast by two Canadian bros about Blink-182. Yeah. That's unspoken. But not only that, the other one was like yet another fucking true crime one I've never heard of, which like sounds terrible. And then the worst one, I wish I could remember what it's called. Guaranteed, like someone who works on it listens to this is going to get hurt feelings or something. But it's like this guy just does interviews with inanimate objects that are played by actors who like research what it is. So it'll be like, who will speak for the humble subway chair? And then there's like an entire podcast where he interviews a fictional subway chair. And then this actor will be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't care what happens to me when I die. I can become art in a millionaire's mansion, or I could just go to the landfill. I don't care. I'm just a subway chair. And then the lady's like, it's surprisingly moving. So I guess
so it's not meant to be funny. It's like truly like you're learning about the feelings and sort of evolution of these objects.
They did one about like a bouncy ball or whatever. Yeah, but I assume it's funny in sort of like the Fringe Festival way of like, ooh, I can't believe they did that, but not like.
Are you
funny.
Insulting Fringe festivals right now?
Oh yeah, I forgot that you're a Fringe fan. Wow, this is really starting off with some animosity. I'm so
literally
sorry.
Flying to Halifax to go to the Fringe Festival at the end of this month.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's fine.
So like. How's the cleaner going to get in?
Well, I'll leave the key with my landlord, I guess. Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Well, Sam, that's all I wanted to say, really. So let's stay together for the kids.
Was it?
I was telling you, I didn't have a joke. I was just like, I can't believe there's a show where a guy's like, we talk to a fork all week. And then it's like some shitty local actor being like, yes, I love my family in the cutlery drawer.
This is awful. Like, despite having what is arguably the worst podcast on the internet, I'm still astounded how judgmental I can be about other people's podcast ideas. Like, there's no, like, the sort of conscious part of my brain knows that it's unreasonable for me to judge these things, but like there's still, I have this deep revulsion when someone tells me about exactly what you just did, where I'm like, these people are fools.
Well, okay, let's unpack that for a second. It's either that our podcast isn't actually the worst one, but I disagree with that. I think it's
true.
Yeah, I think it's more that you have said to me before, oh, you're too self-effacing all the time. You need to like stop being like that or whatever. But I think when you are like that, then you have this protective shell where you can say, well, yeah, I'm a piece of shit, so therefore it doesn't matter. You all fucking suck too. And that's maybe that's more what it is. Like, we know that our podcast definitely shouldn't exist. It's definitely a waste of server space or whatever. And so because of that, we can be like, yeah, this show where a guy interviews a bubble bath bottle is fucking terrible.
I do like that our whole stance about how dumb we are in the podcast is also very clearly bullshit. Like, it's the thinnest possible veneer to hide our tremendous ego and sort of like deep hurt every time we are slighted. You literally just started this by talking about how you were mad that the CBC, our national broadcaster, wasn't like, another great podcast to enjoy this summer is a very cummy pop punk podcast. Now, you'll never look at Dude Ranch the same way after listening to Blink 155.
Maybe save it for winter when it's Long John season. Okay, there's my deep cut.
That was good. Hell yeah. That's from like episode 6 too. Like, these are the only things that you and I know.
Yeah, look, you guys, if you're here because you saw the guest, get the fuck out of here. Start from the beginning, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Start at episode 0, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But anyways, you always ask me this first. I want to ask you, Sam, what do you think of Stay Together for the Kids?
It's better than I remember it being. This song was not on my iPod. And I think I cut it too early because it has like the sort of like pomp and like, you know, just like massive kind of grandiosity of like some of the other songs that I do like from this album. But maybe I deleted it after the video. Like, I can't imagine listening to this record the first time and hating this song, but certainly like once it was released as a single with the video, like it's a fairly hateable song. But I was shocked listening back to it how much I think it's honestly like really fucking good.
Well, the palette has aged really well, first of all.
Yeah, totally. So wait, what about you though? Like, you know, initial takes.
I can't really like, I feel like I like it, but I like it in the same way that I like Simple Plan.
Yeah, it's
like I can't really like this is one of those ones where I'm like, oh yeah, you really do have a Blink 182 podcast. It's not when you're like, yeah, this song is sick and like blends power pop with post punk or whatever. Like we can say sometimes this is like, oh yeah, you're just making something about the mall basically right now when you make this podcast.
Yeah, this is like extremely Zoomies. What's the mall store?
Zoomies.
Cool. Well, I don't look at. We don't have one, or we do, but it's in the suburbs, and I'm like too cool for it. So,
yeah, it's totally like the 3/4 length Volcom pinstriped shorts of Blink-182 is this song, I think.
But I also think again the song has kind of suffered from. Like, if this was just a deep cut on the album, I doubt that we would feel the same like mall parking lot vibes emanating from it. But it does have the dumb card off the top, and like just like listening to it could be a song about anything, but it's been so specifically positioned by that video to be about divorce.
Yeah,
and it becomes this unshakable part of its identity as a song, right?
I love that the video opens with like and we'll talk about the video a little bit more in a second, but I love that it opens with the like quote stat about divorce, but it's so anecdotal. It's just like it's like more than 50% or just 50% of American homes end in divorce.
No, it is.
It's like,
because I just watched the video before we started. That is 50% of American homes are destroyed by divorce.
like, why would you present it as if it's like a factoid or whatever? Is there a term for that? Like at the end of a movie, for example, when it sort of ends with like what everyone's up to now.
Oh, I don't.
There must be a name for that sort of like pre-credit. What's everyone up to now? And I guess this isn't even that.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, typically those would be like. I mean, I've only ever heard them referred to as end cards, but that doesn't like let you know like when someone died or they went on to help the FBI solve divorce in the future. And you're like, oh, right. That's so brave of them.
Like, there's less information in this card than there is when they're like, our label gave us $10,000. Here's what we did with it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is like just like I don't know. Talk to some American divorce association or something. Also, arguably, some homes are saved by divorce.
Well,
I would say
maybe they're saying like 50% of American homes and the rest of them because I mean like I guess divorce rates are high, but like I don't know. I mean it's so strange.
So they've done the research. They've done the research. 50% of homes are destroyed. Another 25% of homes are saved by divorce. And then another 25 are indifferent, and they didn't tell us that the sample base was actually 100% of divorces. They're not talking about.
They weren't even engaging with homes where people had stayed together for the kids. It's such a strange fact, and I do feel like we grew up at a time where, like, do you feel like when you were in like middle school, like people were obsessed with divorce? Like every TV show was about divorce. I know there's like literally an HBO show now called Divorce, but it felt like divorce was like very much in the zeitgeist of the 90s. Like it was the divorce decade.
Getting a lot of HBO mentions, and
well, I mean they are our sponsor this week, so them and
which I will add,
Chubby Chat.
Make sure you watch Los Spookies. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but it's only on HBO in America. So
yeah, we don't get that in Canada. How'd you watch that, Josiah?
Illegally.
Damn, that's fucked up, man. Who has it in why don't we get that in Canada? What's wrong with us?
I don't know. I think we are even more racist towards Mexicans.
Right. Yeah, that's an exciting revelation.
Or it's because Crave read that Gawker article about Fred Armisen, who co-created the show. And they're like,
I suspect that, Bell is very sort of progressive in their policies towards who they program and who they don't. That's
probably.
Absolutely. But okay, so let's because we're moving very firmly into the video. Divorce, yeah. Now, you and I believe, from everything you've said, your parents are still together.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're right. It did seem like when we were kids, like divorce was a huge theme in culture and in real life. And I always felt a little bit like an outlier, I'll say it correctly, in that like I was one of the few kids I knew whose parents didn't get divorced. And I guess we're both strange that way. And perhaps that like cushioning of our childhood has led us to have the blind confidence to say that we should become pop culture critics.
Yeah. Definitely, like, your parents have to have stayed together, and you have to have had, like, a perfectly stable upbringing for you to be like, what should I do with 4 years of my life? A Blink-182 podcast would contribute nicely to the, wretched world in which we currently reside.
Not to mention, that's, like, the least... useless thing we've done with probably our entire careers up until this point.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a series of just ambling through life.
A series of anti-contributions to society.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because we're so punk, right? We're all about tearing society down, and so as much as we can with
it's anarchism.
Yeah, exactly. We're actually so punk in that sense. But yeah, it felt like everyone's parents were getting divorced all the time. Every sitcom was about divorce, or if like the couples weren't divorced, they were always like on the verge of getting divorced, and that would be like how sitcoms would draw you in. Like, remember, like Mad About You? It was like, there was like a 4-episode like divorce arc where they ultimately did not get divorced. Like, it didn't seem like that was always like when you needed ratings. If you weren't like a serious enough show to do like a cancer episode or something, you would do a divorce episode.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say. I remember, I think my dad or someone commenting back then that it was strange culturally that Marge and Homer never got divorced because every other show was like that. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, the Van Houtens getting divorced is an incredible episode and an important episode.
Absolutely.
But even they got back together, so I guess The Simpsons is like very pro heteronormative family unit, I guess.
Right, that's the message.
Not so progressive
from progressive Simpsons writers.
But I do remember even feeling like almost jealous of kids whose parents got divorced, because there would always be that weird power struggle between which parent gave them the better gifts. So they'd always have like the sickest Super Nintendo games at their house.
yeah.
And I remember just being like, "Fuck! I wish my parents would get divorced."
And it was always like 2 Christmases, and you're like, "Oh, 2 birthdays." Like again,
yeah, like,
we're definitely like so blinded by our own privilege, where we're like, "Oh, you got so many gifts for all these things because you came from comfortably middle class families, the only people who got divorced."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe there's statistics to demonstrate that also.
I mean, it's highly likely.
I'm starting to wonder if I should have researched more divorce, but I will say this.
No.
I've done so much research. The cover section is going to kill us so badly that I literally had to reset my modem like 5 times today and call my internet provider, because I had so many Bandcamp windows open at once that like the entire modem just stopped working for over an hour. It fucked up my entire day.
That's good, man. The podcast is good.
I was like, could it be that I just had like 20 Bandcamp windows open? And he's like, huh? Bandcamp? Are you like a musician? And I'm like, I'm not going to explain this.
No,
I think I said I'm a streamer.
That's less embarrassing.
That's less embarrassing than explaining this whole situation.
It's for the best. So, I just wonder if we really fucked up here, because, in the past, or not in the past, at least I'm thinking of one episode in particular that we were worried about as a third rail subject-wise. We made sure to, reach out to and have as a guest sort of someone from the community sort of represented in this particular song. And in this instance, I don't know if maybe you know, because you've already had the conversation. I don't know if our guest, no spoilers, comes from a broken home or not. But if they didn't, I mean,
now I'm starting to like apply identity politics to even talking about divorce. Like, is it like, are you allowed to call it a broken home or like a differently arranged
homestead living situation?
Homestead. No, so the guest this week, because you all know this because you're here for that only, is Felix Biederman from Chapo Trap House and numerous other articles and angry tweets and also great tweets. But yeah, he is actually, his parents did get divorced when he was a kid.
Okay, so I know we've spoiled
we do
it,
have
but
the
it's
divorce.
Okay, good. So
we do have the divorce quota.
The voice of divorce will be represented in this podcast. Less people sort of have that concern right now that you're not being represented as the child of a differently arranged living situation.
Yes, thank you. I was saying we're going to get to the music video in a bit, but I want to first talk about like some of the background to the song, because there's a lot of quotes from these guys about this heartrending divorce anthem. And so on the Wikipedia, there's a few quotes here, and also I think they're also on Genius. There's actually more quotes than usual about this. I'm going to start with what Tom DeLonge said in Ernie Ball, The Pursuit of Tone, which is, again, probably one of the greatest films of all time. So look that up on YouTube if you want. He says, "It was my 18th birthday. I came home, and there were these scratch marks all the way across the sidewalk from the front door out to the driveway. I was like, what the hell are all these scratch marks? I followed them up from the driveway to the front door, opened the front door, and all the furniture's gone. Someone dragged the furniture out. I realized that my dad moved out right at that moment. It was the 20th anniversary of my parents, and all hell broke loose on that day. Like anybody, it would affect you to see your parents break up like that. I wanted to tackle that in a song. Stay together for the kids. It was a simple thing, but I think the magic of it was that it was all pretty. But I wanted to do something we never did before, and that was on the chorus, turn on all the pedals. I think we hit on something that sounded like adolescents lashing out over being caught in the middle of the storm that they had no control of. You grow up thinking that your parents are more powerful than they are. They know a lot more than they do it, and as you get older, you start to learn that they're just people too. They're about as vulnerable and as destructible as you are, and I think that's what's great about rock and roll. It's not about the music as much as it's about the emotion, and the emotion is what resonates with people. They feel something. I think sometimes we lose sight of that importance. When you're a musician, you get caught up in the business, you get caught up in the work, you get caught up in the fame or whatever, and then all of a sudden someone slaps you upside the head with reality, and you're like, wow.
That is an insanely dumb quote.
I didn't even read the last two sentences, which are just, so this is how it ends. Art is really important. It's just really super important.
Yo, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, it's like so dumb, but also so profound, which is why it's a perfect Tom DeLonge quote. I mean, he kind of has a point. They are connecting with kids with their music, and this song does feel like it connects with them in a more sincere way than some of the other ones, like, for example, Going Away to College or whatnot.
But do you feel like if this song, because I actually think like lyrically this song is actually pretty good, and for the subject matter it's dealing with, I feel like it kind of does so in a way that has like there is metaphor in this song. Like it isn't literally like it isn't a Good Charlotte song about divorce, which like those are good songs, don't get me wrong. But like because of its sort of vagueness, I always felt like as just like a child of a normal home. Fuck, that's probably problematic, right? but like, you know,
imagine being like in your mid 30s or whatever. I mean, I don't know what our demographic is, but imagine your main identifying thing as an adult was that your parents got divorced when you were a teen.
Right. It defines my scars. Like to me, the idea of being, and this is actually where I'm like, all joking aside, I'm like, it's funny because we are speaking about this from a very specific perspective, which is like not having gone through this thing that like clearly based on how many fucking movies and TV shows and songs there are about it, like must be very traumatic to go through as a kid. But like we didn't go through it. And it's one of those things where like I struggle with the idea of this being the defining trauma of someone's life. Like, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it just seems
well, yeah, except that I think, and like, I don't know. I think that anyone, no matter what their upbringing is like, whether it's like on a really high scale or on a really like subconscious scale, pretty much everyone, whatever sort of like trauma or pain or like scars they have inside does come from probably their parents or guardians. Like anyone who does if you've ever done any form of like therapy or counseling in your life, everything does trace back to like when you're 11 to 17 years old or whatever. So like you can kind of understand it in that sense where it's like, even if your parents didn't get divorced, and maybe it's something that they didn't even realize they did, probably your parents had something to do with whatever is your like hang-ups now. Like that's, you know, it's kind of a cliche to say, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I buy that. I guess what you said is just like the idea of like being sort of in your 30s. And look, there's like, you know, there's certain things in there that like obviously are traumatic, but like imagine your parents just had a perfectly amicable divorce and you did get 2 sets of Christmas and birthday presents and it was super sick.
Like your parents like had like a Gwyneth Paltrow conscious uncoupling.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be even more scarring, I think.
It's true. I mean, having like, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin as your parents would be traumatizing no matter what.
An influencer divorce? Oh. That'd be like really bad.
Do you have like friends now that have already like gotten married and divorced?
Oh yeah, I do. In fact, we've pointed out that it seems to be divorce season. There's just like a lot of people
niche divorces happening.
Not in the niche, but just like I'm trying to remember who I'm even referring to because I might need to make you delete this.
Let's just say, I guess we know a lot of people who are getting divorced, but I felt like that was like a couple of years ago. I remember like, you know, catching up with someone, you know, you haven't seen, like, because obviously it was your close friends you maybe know, being like, oh, like, what's new? Like, well, I got divorced. And you're like, oh, okay, wow, we're 30. Like, somehow divorce seemed like something that happens to people who are in their 50s, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I definitely know people who've gotten divorced recently, including, I think, Tom DeLonge.
Oh, that's right.
And they're still, like, basically... It's all out there except for it hasn't been officially announced. But like, you know, a bunch of assets have been exchanged and sold off and returned. Some parties have unfollowed each other on Instagram. Some wedding bands have disappeared. It's all kind of like in the air that Tom DeLonge, who wrote this song, eventually succumbed to the same fate. So here is your holiday. You know
we repeat the mistakes of our parents. That's it. We cannot avoid the path that they've laid for us.
The thing I'm really caught up on is it a good line? What stupid poem could fix this home?
Yeah.
I'd read it every day.
I think it's a legitimately good line. Like, again, I was watching the video and I was like, all of the lyrics in this are all of the whatever. It's good. So here's your holiday. Like, oh, fuck off. enjoy it. Like, I like it. It's a good, it like feels like a really like Tom's thing of like, it feels like lashing out and blah, 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 blah. Like it does have this, I think like very effective quality of like bottling a bit of this, like a poetic version of like adolescent rage. But it's just so weird that they made it so specific.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what they always do. But I think you're right. Okay, yeah. And you know what? I'm on board. I'm on board with that line. And everyone got so mad at me for being mad about the apple juice in the hall line. But still, I'm not okay with that.
No, this is better than that.
Yeah. I also like that you could say poem and hoem. Yeah. And that would be funny.
No, for sure. Like
that.
the idea, I mean, it's there to try to rhyme. Like, it's like, say away, like, wake up, pulled shut. Like, home and poem are supposed to rhyme in the context of the song.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, you're right. And also, in a way, I guess, speaking of, like, knowing people who are getting divorced, or even just knowing people that you've always known as a couple, and then they break up, and you kind of feel bummed about it. And, like, the lyrics almost actually translate to that scenario, too, when they talk about, like, if it's what he wants and it's what she wants, then why is there so much pain? I mean, that's obviously very corny to read out loud, and I feel quite embarrassed and ashamed of myself. But that it's a relatable feeling when you hear that your friends like break up or whatever, and you kind of feel bummed, and you're just like, damn, I really thought that they were the ones for each other.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, it felt like a lot of my friends, like everyone just sort of like broke up with their significant others, and people they'd been dating for like years, where you're like, 20 years ago, now lost, like these would have probably been divorces, but because there were people who were just like living in sin or whatever, it wasn't as big a deal. But it was like kind of shocking, where you were like, oh my God, like it sort of changes all of these dynamics. And then it was great because like they were all like, using dating apps and stuff, and it was like very fun to live vicariously through them. But like, yeah, it's definitely, I guess it can still be upset. Am I agreeing with this song? Am I agreeing with the divorce is traumatizing now? Have I talked myself into it?
So your main stance to start off with was that divorce is fine.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It's not like families falling apart is totally fine.
Yeah, I want to make this clear. Like, a parent leaving, like those things are obviously very bad. But like two people who don't get along anymore, recognizing that and moving on with their lives, hopefully a positive for everyone. That was where I started from. So yes, go ahead.
Okay, just making sure I understand. It also does say on Wikipedia there's a little bit more information. And also, I love that the Wikipedia for the song just has like a sick photo of Tom in the 90s grinding a curb.
Know,
like nothing
so
at all to do with this. Who added that? Shout out to you, because that really lightens the mood while you're reading all this stuff.
Yeah, it's like a black and white. Like you can see like, like one of those like parking lot, like massive tall like light towers in the background. Like it's this most suburban 90s looking photo imaginable. And it's just like, here's Tom who wrote this song in the 90s. And you're like, sick. This guy obviously rocks. I should listen to his takes.
Yeah, exactly.
On the issues of the day.
He really does give off a Poochie vibe, actually, in this scenario. It sucks because I should have prepared a little bit more than I already did. The 3 hours and the broken modem weren't enough because I read the quotes in the wrong order. What the main one I wanted to read first was when Tom, his other recollection of his parents splitting up, he said, right then, I knew my dad had dragged out his furniture single-handedly. And it just made me think, like, did his parents have his and hers furniture that even 20 years later, they were like, okay, I own that table.
Yeah, that's my chair. Do not sit in my chair. This is why these people got divorced.
Right, yeah, like still demarcating whose IKEA shit is whose is kind of a bad sign.
Right, exactly. Where you're like, I just want to keep like my book separate from yours. I just don't really like the idea of.
Maybe you should buy your own copy of.
Do you and Sarah have like a joint bank account? Like, are you fine? Like, your lives are merged.
Yeah, it's all completely the same. It's all completely the same.
So yeah, divorce would really fuck your life up.
Yeah, we'd have to like divvy up all the dust that hasn't been cleaned.
Your vital collection of dust and pedophile toys.
I would assume that you have like a different prenup for Ashley that you make her sign sort of in perpetuity.
We both signed prenups. Yeah, it was like a whole thing, man. When you've amassed the kind of wealth that we have, you have to protect yourself. You've watched Succession, clearly,
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think who you're rooting for in Succession.
Like all of them. I love all the rich people are all my friends.
You're just like, now this is a family that works.
Yeah, exactly. That's the message that I take away from it. It's just like a really enjoyable family sitcom to me. It's like watching Home Improvement. I was like,
yeah, it's like
this is so great.
I just love that your main go-to thing of divorce is like, oh, well, clearly these people came to an amicable realization and they just did a handshake and all is well.
Yeah.
It's like, so no wonder the song didn't resonate with you, because your idea of divorce is that it's mostly transactional.
Totally. Like all relationships. Tell me that every interaction you and I have had in person is any different.
I can't tell you that.
Exactly. Josiah, it's been a pleasure doing the podcast with you. Here's your cut of the door, and I bid you good day.
And on we went.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the night. I want to say the other thing I want to say is that musically, I do actually think maybe one reason why it has aged better is that his thing about turning on all of the pedals in the chorus is actually kind of true. Like, I wanted to dunk on him for saying that it sounds like somewhere someone has said that they were trying to sound like Fugazi, and I wanted to make fun of them, especially because of the riff at the start is like, I feel like we all made up that riff in our room when we were learning how to play guitar. Like, it's literally just a major scale, basically. Ding dee 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 doo. It's like so simple and dumb. But then when it comes in with like the chords doing the half step down, and it's just two notes, and it actually does sound really huge, like, and not in a sort of big studio production way that Simple Plan would do it.
No, totally. It like, and that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I feel like I wrote the song off too early, because like it has like, it's like roller coaster. Like we talked about, like the end of there's a few songs on this record that I think like really accurately, or not accurately, like really organically capture just like a massive sounding rock band that like later Blink records and just generally like rock bands are not always good at doing, because the solution is just to pile shit on top or whatever. And this just sounds like really good guitar tone, like and just like the right chords played in the right fucking order, right? And I also think the piano is really nice. Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk to you about the piano in a second, but even on top of that, there's also like, what is that weird drum production they used to do in the 2000s that I kind of think they should bring back, where like the drums sound underwater or whatever. It sounds very Matt Good Band to me, actually.
So good. It's like everything's like telephone effect or whatever. There's also like weird, this song is like like it fully actually has like loading the dishwasher sounds. Like it sounds like a dishwasher like with water being poured into it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's really just like mechanical sounds before the drums start.
Oh,
like it's like an Autobot assembling, and then it's Travis there with his fucking sideburns. Jesus Christ, looks like a fucking hippie.
I'm kind of thinking I never took this song seriously until right now.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. And I'm also realizing that I'm going to have to apologize to so many people for my like utter indifference to the notion of going through a divorce as a kid.
Well, they did have better Super Nintendo games than you.
That's
so
what
I think
I'm thinking,
they'll be
man.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the music video. We got to talk about the damn music video.
We do. So we've talked about the title card, which, again, I feel like if this song had this title, what I want to figure out is like if the song sounded like this, because it is mostly metaphorical. Like the song is not like divorce is tough on me and you. It's got like some cute nuance to it. But this video was the thing that was like, and I remember how every music video in the 90s was like, 2 out of 10 teenagers struggle with suicidal ideation. If you need help, call the kids' help phone. And then they do like a too much for much session where they'd have like multiple therapists like talking about like depression and suicidal ideation, and they'd promoting the shit out of, again, in Canada it was kids' help phone. I don't know what the I don't think that's like an international service. Maybe it is.
In America, they just send you to an answering machine that no one ever checks.
Right? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about the sort of utter indifference of the American medical community towards the suffering of anyone. But like, didn't this song just feel like it was latching on to this thing where everyone was trying to have like their issue? And again, more than anything,
true.
That issue was suicide. Like every music video in the 90s was about teen suicide. Don't do it. And then this was like, all right, we've got our issue. It's going to be this. And so like that card just like feels like a very unfunny parody of
it really does.
Of like whatever card used to come before the Last Resort video, right?
Well, totally. Or also, like I already mentioned, it does remind me of the Rock Show card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, is Simple Plan perfect? Does that video have that too?
It must. Yeah, where it's like,
it's like
50% of Canadian like Quebecois homes
are not perfect.
You just watch.
No, it just opens up on the Burbs. Oh man, I can't play this because as I learned through something that I did recently that people only in Montreal know about, Simple Plan intellectual property will really get you fucked.
You're
on YouTube,
already
so
weird. We have probably been dinged for that. Just like sort of hint of plan.
For some reason, the music of Simple Plan is like the most rare commodity on this
It's the
earth.
unobtainium
It's like
of YouTube,
Bitcoin. Yeah. Yeah, but I guess the other main narrative of the music video is that they shot it on September 9th and September 10th, 2001. And then they were going to go back on September 11th and probably be like, oh, we need a couple more close-ups of like Tom thinking about his parents' furniture. And instead they're like, oh shit, 9/11 happened.
That's definitely what they said that morning. Yo, it's 9/11.
Oh no, 9/11
Turn
happened.
on the TV. They're doing 9/11.
Yeah, because I can guarantee Tom already knew about it.
Of course.
With his intel.
Yeah.
But in the Urethra Chronicles, I think 2 or 3, I don't know, there's so many of these fucking things. But anyways, it's even fun to think that they're talking about 9/11 in a movie called the Urethra Chronicles.
No, like as you transitioned into that, I was like, that's a great sentence. 9/11 features prominently in the second Urethra Chronicles.
Here's Mark talking about it.
They spent about 3 days preparing the house. We shot the video the first day, which was September 10th, and then we went back to finish up the small stuff we had to on September 11th, and on the way up there was when all the tragedy went down. In the end, we decided that it wasn't... The images in the video looked too much like the images that were coming back on television from the disaster, so we decided to reshoot the video.
God damn. 9/11 really fucked up Blink's life.
Yeah, I know, it sucks.
Oh, yeah, it's so weird to me, again, like, and I don't... This is not, like, a real opinion that I have, because I am, like, absolutely someone who gets, like, super worked up and emotionally invested in things that, like, don't matter, like, really don't matter, like, not as opposed to, like, divorce, which, like, does matter, okay? Definitely matters. I see you, children of divorce. I hear you. But, like...
And can I play with your toys?
Yeah, but, like... Doesn't it something seem like funny about the idea of like going through this like world shifting tragedy, and like this video still comes out like what, like a month later or something, where you're like, and now we're back on like really dealing with like the thing that matters to us, which is divorce. Like that the function of those attacks, and then like the war, and like the just total destruction of like the world.
Yeah, but what was 9/11 if not the permanent separation of two equal things standing firmly together that no longer will be I mean, it was just ultimately the final divorce in a way.
It was. It's just one giant metaphor. In many ways, it's better than, like, maybe it was like Osama bin Laden saw, like, dailies, I don't know, of like, this video of, like, oh, you destroyed a house with a wrecking ball? Like, eat shit. Check this fucking thing out. And then, you know. And then did the ultimate divorce metaphor.
I just don't think that someone would have seen this suburban wrecking ball house thing, which also is like such a bad idea for a music video that it feels like it's been done 3,000 times.
But hasn't Blink done it 3,000 times? Like, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, like it feels like it. It feels like every music video is a house getting wrecked with a wrecking ball. But I mean, wrecking ball is one, I guess.
Yeah, that's the most popular contemporary one. I'm actually just thinking now of the guy at the Montreal live show. Like, I think one of the first questions in Montreal, because we did a bit of an audience thing, was, do you guys even like Blink-182? And this is certainly not if you are a skeptic in terms of our fandom, this episode will probably not convince anyone.
Yeah, because we're like, whoa, I actually don't hate this. That's
crazy. True.
Yeah,
yeah, we're like shocked that we're enjoying it, but then we're going to spend like 3 hours tearing it apart.
Well, so the director of the video's name is Samuel Bayer, and he has... Man, what a bizarre filmography. He did the video for NoFX's Bob.
What is the Bob video? I don't remember there being a Bob. I mean, I'm not disputing that one exists, but...
I'm assuming it's very, like, VHS looking.
Wait, he did Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Yeah, and then he did, like, every Green Day video and some Strokes videos and Natalie Imbruglia. I like that this is also listed in order on his wiki, because you can see like he did a NoFX video after doing multiple Jesus and Mary Chain videos. Like the concept of being cool back then was so confusing for everyone.
Yeah, it's true. You got like Rush, NoFX, and then right into Tears for Fears. Like what the fuck? Doll Parts, Gotta Get Away. Yo, this guy rocks.
Yeah, and then he most recently did a Lexus commercial in 2018. So
cool.
Wait, he also directed the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street. What?
Wait,
this is crazy.
Yo, Samuel Bayer, come on the pod.
I never saw this one. Did you? I'm still working my way through all the Nightmare on Elm Streets right now.
Yeah, I've never watched the remake. No,
it's probably bad. Hey,
but
Rooney Mara's in it.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, and I like the guy. What's the name of the guy who plays who actually plays Freddy in it? It's the guy from like it's the pedophile from Little Children. Jackie Earl Haley. This is
I was trying to think of a joke, and then I couldn't think of that either. So we're just really just fumbling mid air, and we could edit it so that we seemed more slick,
no.
but never gonna happen.
Editing is for the first like 10 episodes that you, as a new listener, have now worked through. So welcome to the present.
Exactly.
I guess it's been a long couple of months for you, but glad you're here. And we don't edit anymore.
So we got some live videos to talk about, but first while we have all these like reading things open, let's look at the reception section on Wikipedia.
Why
it's
does this
really
song
funny.
have such a detailed wiki?
It's
It's
crazy.
astonishing. This thing is like got to be 1,000 words long at least.
I think it's just like a full-on fucking hit, and it doesn't seem like a hit to me still, even though it is. It's just, I don't know. It's really strange.
Well, you know what's interesting? Okay, but sometimes like I do feel like this shit makes sense. Where like even like last week or a couple of weeks ago when we discovered St. Manville, and I got extremely hype on his cover of Alien Ant Farm's movies. I was like, who the fuck would cover this song? Because this was never popular. But if you look at the wiki for movies by Alien Ant Farm, which I then subsequently did, it was like a top 10 single in the UK. So like it makes a little more sense. Whereas like I think it might have been like in the 70s or something in Canada. And looking at the charts for Stay Together for the Kids, this was a number 16 on the Hot 100, number 7 on the like rock Billboard in the US. And I don't think it charted in Canada. So this actually might have just been like a less popular song here for some reason. Like maybe Canadians don't get as divorced.
Yeah, or maybe we just need to like stop basing everything we say on just like our understanding of the world based on the 25 acquaintances we each.
But like what else could we possibly do? You want us to be like, how worldly do you want this Blink-182 podcast to be, Josiah?
So Rob Sheffield of Rolling Stone, a guy who
Truly
I think seems to be still
Mr.
around.
Sheffield. That's exciting.
He described the song. He deemed, I should say, the song bleak, describing it as a broken family snapshot. Damn. I love it's so funny. I can't remember if I've talked about this before, but like somebody adds quotes about music writing to wikis for certain songs, and like I've done so many thousands of posts in my life, just sort of
Well,
as
when you're
part
just
of the
posting
job.
a premiere
I just, like,
or something,
yeah, or just like posting a rap video and I don't even remember what I wrote because I'm essentially blacked out while I'm doing it because I'm trying to speed through it to get as much done as possible. And then I'll like see that like I'm on like the Kanye and Jay-Z Otis page, and it's like just hi, he's an exclaim calls it, and then like some shit that I'm like I wrote that. What? It's so weird. But anyways, and then Eric Ieze of Billboard wrote that the song remains compelling throughout, suggesting it could be a MacArthur Park or Hey Jude within the band's catalog.
That's insane. This song's way better than MacArthur Park.
Also, no one thinks of it as MacArthur Park. We all think of it as Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's true. I believe it's in MacArthur Park is in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in that moment I was like, haha, Jurassic Park. Like because I remember that was a song that was like the idea of Weird Al parodying that song at that time for the audience that he had. Like, did any of us know MacArthur Park?
I still honestly don't know. I can't tell. Is it Cat Stevens or something?
It's
I don't even
basically
know.
Cat Stevens. It's like a lesser Cat Stevens.
Jimmy Webb, Richard Harris. Who the fuck are these people?
See, who cares? But like, I remember my parents having to explain to me. They're like, "Oh, it's a great song. It's like it's about a cake." And I heard it, and I was like, "This song sucks ass." Weird Al solved this song.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, why the fuck is that? Like, I guess because it already had Park in the name. Like, I just feel like if you look at the Weird Al discography, it is always like the songs of the day. Like the other parodies on that were like Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, what else is on that record? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember which record it is.
It's Alapalooza.
And I feel like that was maybe a B-sides or something.
No, that's okay. What else does it have? Yeah, it has Bedrock Anthem, Achy Breaky Song. So the 3 singles from that were Jurassic Park, Bedrock Anthem, and Achy Breaky Song. So you've got like contemporary hits being parodied, and then you have that also had Bohemian Polka on it. It's a good record. Living in the Fridge, an Aerosmith parody.
Okay, this is fucking bizarre. I mean, Weird Al's so good.
She Never Told Me She Was a Mime.
Point.
That's a great Weird Al original.
I think, Jurassic Park was one of those ones where you just assumed that it was an original.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Weird Al has sick originals, too?
Yeah, like She Never Told Me She Was a Mime. But this song is from 1968, MacArthur Park.
More importantly, who's going to hear Stay Together for the Kids and be like, yes, Hey Jude.
yeah. It's just so weird because like Hey Jude, I guess we're like, okay, cool, that's like a big sing-along jam in the Beatles catalog, but it's like, does Richard Harris have like his own Damn It? Or like, what's Richard Harris's rock show? It just seems so weird to be like, this is like their equivalent in the works of Richard Harris.
Right. Well, anyway, Slant Magazine's Aaron Scott called it the best track on the album, writing, "The surprising content about a marriage that is resisting divorce will certainly appeal to a generation of youth subjected to a massive divorce epidemic. Blink hints at something here, but resists saying anything concrete." So a little bit of a backhanded compliment.
Was it an epidemic? That's what I'm saying. Like, was it like people treat it like it was like the fucking AIDS crisis?
Well, I think we're so used to everyone being divorced now, but above it does say that in 2002 divorce statistics were 4 times higher than 30 years prior. So I guess they woke up and were like, damn, this is a lot different than it was 30 years ago. And this is also I love MacArthur Park.
Right, yeah, here are some facts I'm going to combine together. But I do now, like, I'm bringing it back, sorry, because I know you're trying to move on and read quotes from the Wikipedia, but like what was it? There's got to be a larger social reason then for climbing divorce rates, right? Like, so what would, like, I just wish that one of us was smart enough now to be able to explain that. Like, did the church say something where they're like, divorce is tight now, it's fine? Like,
well, I'm sure that it was like partly from people being less and less and less religious about their day-to-day lives. I mean, like, we go to church on Easter now. Who gives a shit? We can just get the whole family together and pretend we're still married if we have to, or just like not worry about it. So maybe it's something like that. Maybe it was, I want to say 9/11.
It's definitely 9/11. Also, sorry, is your computer internet like screaming right now, fan wise? Because all of a sudden, like I'm hearing like 1,000 Bandcamp tabs worth of like whirring on your end.
No, nothing happened.
Shit. Okay, I was hoping that you were like, yes, my computer is melting down, as it does sometimes on these beefy episodes.
No, not yet. We'll get there though. But I will say this to add to what you mentioned earlier, because I want to just keep reading the Wikipedia. William Shaw of Blender mentioned the song in an article called, with the sentence, "The 90s had Generation X. Have we ended up with Generation Wine?" And he compared this. He listed this song alongside other divorce anthems like Papa Roach's "Broken Home,"
which is a sick song.
Stained's "For You."
Don't know it.
And Nickelback's "Too Bad." I don't think I know that either.
Too bad. It's too late. It's too time to rewind. That's too late.
Sick.
It's good. That's a good Nickelback song. It's not as good as Photograph, but it's like pretty good.
Every Nickelback song is good to great, I would say.
It's too. I just like all the songs that are about like strippers. Like realizing that there's like every non-single Nickelback song is about a stripper was like an important revelation in my understanding and appreciation of Nickelback.
It's true. I fully agree. But like, if someone was to read that as a critique,
it's not.
I would say a band that has huge, enormous singles that are undeniably great, and then like really shitty album tracks. Oh, are you talking about Nickelback or are you talking about My Chemical Romance? Because it's the same ratio.
And also,
literally.
My Chemical Romance's songs are all about strippers as well, right?
I think so, but like in the Alice in Wonderland universe or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's enough reading the wiki because I want to show you some incredible live videos of this song.
Okay, sick.
I think this song is like so emotional and so serious and simple, but such a big hit that they had to play it all the time. So it's one of the ones that Tom seems especially drunk for.
Oh, hell yeah.
At all times. So this is from Vegas, and I don't know what year it's from, but it's very floppy beanie era.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Tom. So you can kind of picture the sag off the back of his head as he sings this.
You know what's funny is like I just read today that like Nicolas Cage interview that's in New York Times Magazine that like everyone is sharing that is extremely worth reading, and he like talks a lot about his approach to acting, and one of the things that they kind of dissect is like his like just like fucking bananas like line readings that he'll do where he'll just say words in a way that no human being has said them before, and it often involves like just like elongating vowels in like an unnatural sort of form, and like that's what Tom's doing. Like Tom is kind of like the accidental Nicolas Cage of pop punk, where you're just like, who would ever think it's like he's constantly doing the Peggy Sue Got Married voice, but like over top of these emo anthems.
In the same way, he like contains multitudes and rocks ass, and everyone should respect
Totally,
him.
he's got his Con Air, but he also has his Ghost Rider
Mandy
series. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and also like 100 straight to fucking Netflix action movies.
The thing is also like I used to laugh at these videos more, but I actually prefer this to like hearing Matt Skiba just like timidly sing it and try to do it correctly and still fuck it up. Like Tom is just like bored of the song, and so instead he's being like yo yo.
But weirdly, like as sort of like bad Tom videos from like peak floppy beanie era go, this feels like he's actually hitting all the important notes. Like he's very rarely like fully out of tune. It's just more that he's fucking around in the space around those notes, and it's actually insanely endearing. Like most of the time, these things are just like funny, and that was definitely funny. But I'm like, it feels authentic, and I appreciate that.
Well, also, like you especially notice that when Mark starts harmonizing, because
right,
the harmony hits perfectly
with like a thing that's not even happening.
It hits perfectly, even though he's harmonizing with like a man who's clearly falling apart. It's like incredible. But there is another one. So this one's from 2010 in Reading. Same floppy beanie vibe, same giant Macbeth looking guitar thing. So I think it'll be similar. Here we go. He's like laughing and making very adorable, goofy faces.
Fuck, that's so good. This is really good. You know, like, one of the things I do think, though, is like this, while this feels like, and we're obviously talking about this in the context of being a Tom song, I do think the Mark stuff in this is fucking great. And especially on the recorded version, the like very dry production on his voice is amazing, and I think really elevates like the just giganticness of the chorus, because you have the like sort of very Matthew Good Band tin pan drums and the machine sounds, and then this like absolutely dead end vocal take from Mark into this like explosive bit, and it's fucking great. Anyway, that's all. I just want to make sure we recognize Mark's contribution to this song.
All of the elements here are working together perfectly. I agree. Like, Mark does sound sort of deadened in a perfect way. He also is very smooth and has glowing eyes in the video, kind of like in the What's My Age Again.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, it's true. Like, this is actually a way more important Blink song than I ever gave it credit for, as we're learning. But you were talking about about the piano. I agree that I like it. And I just noticed, like...
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, not only the piano, but the weird like instrumental bridge part is actually very sick and very like musical. Like it sounds like a real. They kind of sound like a good indie band.
Yeah, no,
during that part.
The
they don't
bridge
sound
is
like,
so good, but again, in the video, it's all like soft focus, sort of like moving portraits of the various teens fucking up the house, and it sucks. But if you like just listen to it, it's very good.
Well, seeing them play on Leno, I noticed like they don't cut to it till the end, but instead of just having like canned music, there is like just some lady like rocking the fuck out on a grand piano, and it's sick.
Yo, okay.
So I'll skip around a little bit, but here they are playing on Leno, whenever, I guess probably 2002. They're very big shorts era and tall socks. It's such a good look in these videos only, but then whenever you see someone wearing it on the street, you're like, oh, good lord. You'd think they'd have like a Monster Energy drink tattoo, but in Blink videos it looks good.
in situ it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. This sounds different.
Yeah, this is a cool bass part. That lady is just banging away on the piano. There's like a grand piano on the Leno stage.
And then they just like fucking kick in.
Oh, this is so good. I honestly prefer the way he sings it when he's like troubled.
Yeah, like something did happen with his voice, but okay, there's more piano lady. Like she seriously, they just start fucking cooking.
Jamming on that piano. Do you know what that piano sounds like? Because they're fucking around so much. It sounds like the end of Standing Outside a Broken Phone Booth with Money in My Hand by Primitive Radio Gods.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, to me, I just sitting here thinking, what they don't realize is that like there's room to fucking jam.
Yeah.
Like, you know who's doing that now? And I never shut up about them, but Vampire Weekend is like fully a jam band now. And they go on, even when they go on TV, they play the song differently every time. And then it's like, yeah, I want to see this TV part because it's not going to be the same as last time. And like, if you're going to write a song that the chorus is just 2 chords, fucking jam it out. Get some weird piano lady to come out of the blue. Why not?
Get yourself a jammer. You know what? A part of the video as well that
because Mark's gonna become a deadhead in like 3 years. It's gonna be. It's not gonna happen. Like already, it's like you're the window's closing on becoming a deadhead right now. They're almost full, right? I would say culturally now that the dead is back.
I cannot believe how many people in my feed like talk about the dead now. It's awful.
It's crazy. I mean, look, I respect it, but I also think it's definitely like Pogs, basically. But that said, the more jamming, the merrier at this point, because everyone's just playing to click tracks and doing nothing. And this is so much better to see. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying I like a Leno appearance, but here we are.
I mean, listen, you know me. I love Leno. Leno was always my favorite. I'm a Leno guy.
There are people like that, aren't there?
I mean, definitely. I mean, Leno was more popular than everyone that we like. So, like, there are Lenos amongst us.
I can't believe that there was a time when, like, we liked late night TV people and we, like, had opinions about them. Or, like, even just think about how, like, 5 years ago, everyone used to be like, I like this show because I like the showrunner. Like, knowing, like, what a showrunner is.
Oh, yeah, that was, like, a big thing, right? I understand how this product I enjoy is made. And all those people are actually like monstrous pieces of shit too.
Yeah, exactly.
And like none of them were talented because it's like, oh, if this showrunner is such a genius, why does the Romanovs like suck so much ass? You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
But something that I thought of watching this video that I wanted, I feel like I'm going to lose it, is that something that I do like about the video is like the first shot you kind of get of the band is Tom playing the riff with the like all black painted fingernails. And I do feel like while like obviously that was like a, look of the moment, maybe went a long way to, on a mainstream way, like normalizing just like, what's it called? Nail polish on dudes, right? Because I this era is still like, I remember like I had like male friends who would wear nail polish and go home and their dads would be really mad at them and shit. Like, so like, I feel like it's differenter now, like probably still not great for tons and tons of people, but like credit to Tom for like wearing that flag, very early on. Like it's just like a full finger shot,
Oh, black nail polish looks so good on dudes.
Yeah.
I think everyone should do it.
I was like, maybe I'm going to start wearing nail polish. Like it's
I think I said that a few weeks ago, and at this point it's like, no, that's just a midlife crisis thing. Like, just don't do it. Encourage other people to do it, but just like
recognize
stop.
your
Just
own like aesthetic limitations.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Like, I feel like if you have like crow's feet by your eyes or whatever, you can't start wearing black
right,
nail
you can't
polish.
like make such a sort of significant stylistic shift.
Like, I'm gonna dress like a raver, even though I like know actual ravers because I'm so old. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
There's just certain things you can't
Isn't
do.
it fucked when people talk about raves? Man.
Yeah, people invite me to raves here.
Do you guys still have like
now.
rave raves or just like club raves?
Well, now that everyone realizes like rock music's bad, there's like now illegal raves all the time again.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I can't stay up that late. And people are always like, oh, we got stuff for that for you. And I'm like, I don't think you understand.
I can't anymore. I've invested in this watch.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the swatch now. No, I'm like, you guys do not have the right LaCroix flavors to keep me up all night.
I feel like the illegal raves are probably light on LaCroix variety.
Speaking of substance abuse, this video seems really annoying and bad, and so I thought I'd play it for us. This is, I guess, there's for some reason a lot of YouTube content about this, and this guy seems random as fuck. I mean, he's got Hannibal Buress on his kick drum and a Shrek doll. That's fucking random as hell. His name is James Miller, and he did a video where he compares himself drunk drumming and sober drumming. So there's cuts of both. But the thing is that he kind of sucks as a drummer to begin with. So it's like, I don't really understand the point. But there's like, I don't know, there's like a lot of like...
I think he needs to get drunk. Chesterfield, let's take a second. I'm gonna
Chesterfield.
We're gonna plug Chesterfield.
A lot of ear-piercing discussion of their alcohol abuse. And then they eat pizza. Just one of those like YouTube videos where it's like 4 minutes of preamble and fucking homemade intro video before
it
they
must
get
be
to
awful.
the
People
juice.
not getting to the point of their creative endeavor that purports to be about one thing and is in fact about nothing at all.
So this is what he sounds like when he drums soberly. And that's
This guy's not great.
Back to sober.
I mean, I cannot tell the difference. It sounds like he's a little behind the beat all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that screwing up was during the drunk one, but he seems like he's performatively screwing up on purpose in order to seem more drunk.
Well, he's definitely a wacky dude. He's got like a multicolored shirt. I mean, it's just very clear this is
He's a party animal.
fun-loving guy.
He's clearly a party animal. And so now we know what it's like for this guy we've never seen before.
We'll never see
to
again, yeah.
Drum soberly and also drunkenly.
Yeah, that's some important shit, man.
Sometimes, like, a video like that, it's like, you know what, just don't upload it. If you watch it, like, do you not watch it and you're like, oh, wow, I drum exactly the same both ways, and I'm just not very good.
He did, like, a dozen shots, so I think at that point you've done enough damage that you might as well, like, reap the 277 view reward that you get from it.
Well, also, like, I think music is basically intertwined with alcohol abuse, and it doesn't really affect anyone's playing ability that much unless they're like A Star Is Born on stage pissing themselves. But you know what I mean? Like, pretty much everyone who's a drinker who plays music is drunk the whole time.
Well, yeah, how else do you deal with it?
Well, exactly. Why do you think I don't play shows anymore?
Right, yeah, that's interesting. Like, now that you're sober, it's just like doesn't agree with you.
I was saying to my friend Ryan that when I used to be drunk all the time, I would be like, my vision would blur so that the crowd looked more full than it actually was. But now that I can see how many heads are there, it's no fun.
Tough, man.
So there's quite a few like class projects where they made music videos for the song, which I love watching them, but it's not. And I really do care about the quality of this podcast, and so it's not conducive to the audio medium. But this one, uploaded by Krista Campbell in 2012. It does have what you were talking about earlier about how every video had like a message and was about
a touching message.
Thankfully, this one does have people cutting away to, like, it has talking head shots where people are sharing their experiences with divorce during an instrumental break. So I thought
we should listen to that because I think again, particularly I was insensitive earlier, so this is a good education for me.
This is a good, we'll definitely handle this sensitively for sure. There's like a lot of kids like pouting
also,
right now.
Cards off the top. Marriages that end in divorce can affect the entire family.
Oh shit!
Yeah, the ones that are hurt the most are the children.
I didn't want to believe it. It's like a battle of who has the kids, so it tore up her mouth. I was just really confused and hurt.
I really didn't know what was going on.
I was really angry. I didn't understand why.
I mean, it kind of seemed like even those kids being interviewed were sort of doing the same grin that you see like on a Cineplex ad where they're talking about what they thought of the movie, and it seems like they might have been fed some lines.
Oh, it's a nonstop thrill ride. We loved it. But like also you sort of haven't described this entire video is like various children just crying. Like it's just like a shot. Yeah. There's like a kid in a hurley cat, like a 6-year-old boy just gazing wistfully at like a marsh or something, and just pretend.
Oh, there's a girl posing in front of a graffiti wall. It might be where Rick Mercer did his rants. Perhaps.
Yeah. Oh, this is the famous rant wall.
Okay, I found another talking head.
Always yelling at each other before they got a divorce. Like always.
They were trying to like hide everything. Yeah, it hurt. It breaks me down because, like, they can't be there together. Tried to block it out and, like, imagine that everything was perfect when it wasn't.
I wasn't sure if everything was going to be the same.
Now I don't think things will ever be the same again. I wish it never happened. And I just feel like they were just treating it, like, as if we were stupid and oblivious to, like, what was going on.
It made me sad to see him split up Ben.
But, like, they always tell me that it wasn't my fault. But, like,
This really is one of those things where you can't tell what year it's from. Like, this seems like it's from 1991.
Right, but it's probably from 2015.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a thing that was good, I thought. Maybe.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it ends with they're thanking everyone who opened themselves up, even though it's a sensitive subject. So, yeah, like,
I thank you as well, because Sam didn't know what it was
I've
like,
learned,
and that's why he was being so
and
cruel.
I apologize. Well,
Sam, and if this is your first episode, please realize that Sam is the mean one.
Right, yeah.
That's canon.
Yeah, that's just accepted. That's part of the lore.
Okay. I don't know, unfortunately this is not the great Darius Burke, who everyone needs to look up, but there is a parody of the song, and it's sort of, I actually think, I might have liked this if it was earlier on in the show, but now that I'm aware of like what the depths of Blink-182 parodies can be, I'm finding it a little bit on the nose to make a Blink-182 parody that's about Blink-182.
Oh, come on. Make it about your neighbors who, like, listen to music too loud or...
Exactly, or a hobbyist or, any of these wonderful subjects. But instead, someone named Orange Misfit just last month uploaded a parody called Stay Together for the Money.
Ooh, baby. You gonna make us listen to the whole intro?
Well, I didn't... Yeah, I am.
Oh, there's those machines.
That's cool.
It's hard to get paid.
Kind of sounds like Darius.
You cancel shows all day.
We'll play our hits for 90 minutes if we play it all.
No, it's too rhymey for Darius. Darius would be just like off in his own world by now.
Exactly.
Na-na-nas are all I bring.
And it's too focused.
What can I do? Try something new. I'd rather do the same. So give the joy of your hand. Here we go. Enjoy it this time. Give it all to me. Make it mine. Lucky packs are so fun.
VIP packs are sublime.
20 years soundtrack. Give us cash.
Imagine like 2019 being the year that you're like, I'm starting to think Blink-182 sold out.
Yeah, I'm over this.
These guys are fucking sellouts. They're not punk anymore as of 2019. Okay, before we get into covers, there's two more things I want to show you. I can't figure out what this is. I was hoping that it would be a cover, but it's kind of interesting that, like, Stay Together for the Kids, first of all, it's an amazing title for a song.
It is.
But it's also, like, it's like the definitive saying. It's like a old idiom or something that you would relate with divorce. But, again, there was another song that this happened with. I forget what it was now. But Blink-182 is so iconic, and the song was so huge that now exclusively almost this phrase is associated with
That's
them. Like, I
interesting.
didn't even have to search Blink. I just searched Stay Together for the Kids, and I almost only find Blink.
I'm sure you
stuff.
have some sort of divorce specific like therapy content ready to ruin my night with. Yeah.
I skipped over it because the covers
Okay,
alone,
great.
the modem exploding covers are going to definitely ruin your entire weekend. So don't worry about that. But
I got all my pens loaded up, man. I'm good to go over here.
I thought this was going to be another Blink cover, but this is by another band called Firemen Pray for Rain, and it's also called Stay Together for the Kids. And I thought I'd play it because, like, I can't. The lowercase title on it makes me think, oh, this is like an emo band, so it must be a reference to Blink. But then the cover is like a really shitty Photoshop of the Eiffel Tower, like in the day and at night or something.
Yeah, it looks like it's like
So
half in the moody day and then half like it looks like it's supposed to be on fire or something at night.
This is the main way I experience new music, so I just thought
Finding
you
bands that
don't
have
mind.
recorded songs that have the same title as Blink-182 songs.
yeah, and only have 7 views on it. I'm like, oh, this might be good. Like some people listen to Spotify playlists or whatever. This is how I do it.
This is your
So I
Discover
thought-
Weekly is this.
Exactly. So let's see what it's like.
Cause you're old enough to handle it. If you made your choices and stuck to them this long. Cause while you get a second chance, they question their life and you love and feel entirely useless and lonely. And tired of all the shit you put them through. And their outlook on life is entirely skewed. There's nothing they wouldn't trade, there's nothing they wouldn't do to go back in time and maybe sing a life or two. And I know it's your life and it's all this you gave, but their lives will depend on the choice that you make in the next 20 seconds, the next 20 minutes, next 20 hours, the next 20 kisses, next 20 lifetimes.
Yeah, you know what? I will say this is not for me, but there were some like good little melodies in there.
Yeah, it's very like
if
I
that
feel
was
like-
an acoustic version of a bonus track from California Deluxe, I would be like, do I like this song? Like that's where I would go.
There's only really 3 narratives that we can do on these episodes, and that's one of
Yeah,
them.
totally.
I was just thinking about how like all of the vocal acrobatics of the Spin Doctors, you don't really hear things that sound like the Spin Doctors anymore, but I now realize it's mostly probably just like people who use CD Baby all sound like
CD Baby Doctors.
the guy
yeah.
from exactly. I should know his name. His name is Chris
Is
something.
it a Chris?
He is I think it's Chris Barron maybe. And then the other thing I
Why
want to
should
play
you
before
know
we do,
the name of the singer from Spin Doctors?
because we follow each other.
Oh
on
shit!
Twitter.
You should know.
And I was
him.
going to ask him on the pod.
Now you
actually,
can't though
but-
because you've embarrassed yourself. You have to edit this out.
Exactly.
What if he hears it? What if this is the episode he listens to? He's a big Chapo fan.
Yeah, he probably is not that. So the other thing I wanted to play is, unfortunately, they don't play the song on here, but something
What?
called PGA Italian Punks Go Acoustic.
Oh.
Rude Records put this out, and it's a compilation called "Stay Together for the Kids." And so I was like, as I was digging around, this cover of "Radio" by Rancid came on, and I'm like, "There's no way I'm not playing
cool.
this." So here we go. Doesn't sound very acoustic to me.
No. Although I guess those are all technically like acoustic instruments. Nothing being played right now is electric.
Until I fell in love with you, never knew what a good time was. Till I had a good time with you. If you wanna get the feeling, you wanna get it right, and the music's gotta be loud. For when the music hits me, I feel that pain at all.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is good. Like I'm like so ready to be like, I only want to hear Richard Cheese do this shit, but it turns out I also want to hear Finley do this, or PGA, or whatever this is. Sorry, Antani Project.
Oh my god,
Antony. Is this Antony?
That made me so uncomfortable. That sounded like Fire Walk With Me era David Lynch music.
Totally, yeah. Oh, I bet David Lynch has some takes on divorce.
I thought you were going to say on pop punk, because if that's the
Maybe.
case, get it.
So we might as well check at some point.
Let's get into some covers. How
Okay.
about?
I'm going to pee first.
But, yeah, me too. And I want to get a
okay,
baby.
sick.
Okay, we going back in?
Yeah, okay, so let's go back in. So, no longer talking about, I'm not giving you recommendations for house cleaners or anything. Yeah, we're back.
I'm not giving you divorce tips.
Yeah. This is going to be when you and I do get divorced, like at some point over the course of the next 1,000 episodes or whatever, we're going to look back on our sort of flippant handling of the issue and really feel like fools.
Exactly.
Because like what?
We're gonna be like
this is the.
Here's your holiday indeed.
I mean, this entire pursuit is like absolutely ruining both of our marriages. So.
Well, not to mention, I just realized the word holiday is like actually such a punk word. I never really thought about that until right now.
Because of the Sex Pistols?
I don't want to holiday. Yeah, man, Sex Pistols are so
Sex
good.
Pistols rock.
I just like sincerely think that they're so good and cool.
I remember seeing like, you know, like a million years ago, seeing Fucked Up play, and they were doing at the time they were covering Bodies.
Yeah, they were doing that also, like that, when you saw them, the first half of that tour was with us.
Oh,
with
shit,
Grown Ups.
really?
They were doing it with us, too. Yeah, yeah.
But, like, their cover of Bodies was so good, and I don't think I had listened to the Sex Pistols since I was, like, fully in high school and, like, learning about punk, and sort of felt like I had to listen to it and liked it. Like, those songs are all, like, that record is good, but it hadn't,
good.
like, really, like, I guess, like, hadn't been something I'd really returned to a lot, and after that, like Bodies in particular, maybe just because of like it got put in this very sort of specific and interesting context, but like yeah, that band so like Sex Pistols is a really good band. Like it's this huge revelation, but it kind of is because they feel like a cliche, you know.
They're almost exactly the same as like realizing that Blink-182 is actually good, because they're just like they've been self-parody the entire time, but then you're like, wait a minute, these songs are sick.
Totally. That's exactly it. They are in many ways the like, you know, they're the British Blink-182, you know.
What John Lydon was trying to like promote something, I forget, last year, and I was like so many emails deep trying to get him on the pod.
Oh my god, it'd be fucking amazing. He's awesome. Like, and that's the other thing is like I mean
he's definitely very alt-right also.
Yeah,
now.
but everybody cool is, and he it was just one of those things though where I think like it was so obvious the level that he was functioning on. If like again as an adult you go back, like if you experienced it at the time you sort of saw that all unfolding, but the idea of like maybe being into the Sex Pistols and then hearing Public Image Limited and like just the way that band like was sort of rolled out and like approached being a band was like so fascinating and so smart. And I think again as teens getting into punk, no one tells you that. Like no one's like, well, they did this band, but this band was like a complete fucking lark for this one dude who then made this like weird statement about like consumerism and like dub music or whatever.
Yeah,
like it's fucking brilliant. And I have always been like honestly, like in an embarrassing way, kind of obsessed with the idea that the last thing that John Lydon said before the Sex Pistols were never a band again was ever get the feeling you've been cheated. Like, I just love that turn of phrase so fucking much. Like, I think it's so brilliant because it's just a reminder that the whole thing was like a fucking joke. Like, it was not supposed to mean anything.
It's so hilariously, cheesily British. Like that. When you say that, I hear Tim Heidecker and Fred Armisen doing their British punk guy voice, saying
I've got the feeling you've been cheated. Like, it's awful.
Okay. Well, let's stop talking about this fucking chimney sweep ass punk guy that we like, and instead go back to Stay Together for the Kids. So I'm going to ease us into things with a nice laid back Nightcore cover.
So good. Dude, right before we recorded this podcast, I found the old MP3s for the proto Nightcore mix CD that I made that we've talked about a lot on this podcast, like when I worked at which I thought had Stay Together for the Kids, but I now realize it had Adam's Song, and I'm sure we talked about that on the Adam's Song episode. But it also has I'm Just a Kid on it, and that's like truly fucking sick. So if anybody wants to hear my
you should just put it on the Patreon.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to put up my Nightcore version of Simple Plan. Upload Nightcore plan.
So patreon.com/Blink155.
Yeah. That's the kind of quality shit that you get if you give us all your money.
Give us your money so we can pay our cleaning ladies.
They could be cleaning, like anyone, man. Anyone can clean.
It's true.
It's fucked up of you to say.
It's true. I would assume that the people you're exploiting to clean your house are of some sort of like modern woke company.
Yeah. It's like you would not believe the diversity of cleaning professionals that they provide.
Okay, well, to flip the switch back from Nightcore, because now we're all out of sync here, I'm going to play us this chopped and screwed version by Blueberry Skunk from Bandcamp.
I feel like I'm going to love this. I'm excited.
Okay, the intro is going to be a little long.
Yeah. I'm hitting that laughing Buddha right now too, so like just take me on a trip, Josiah. I'm ready. Yep. Free download. Clicking that right now.
Like sleep.
This is so good.
Okay, yeah, that fucking.
Yeah, so I'm downloading this whole album because check out what else is on this. Josie by Blink-182, Steal My Sunshine, Teenage Dirtbag, Police Story.
This is a robust Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, like this is 47 tracks.
This is a robust chopped and screwed collection. Everyone, if you're into that, check out blueberryskunk.bandcamp.com.
Ooh, I bet that's gonna wreck me.
Yeah. Really beautiful design on here too.
This
It's
is
like
sick.
It's not just completely random, it's kind of like planned out a little bit. I've reshuffled my order here because that reminded me of this other. I don't know if this is chopped and screwed or not. It seems even crazier. This is uploaded by CVR the Bard.
Oh, the Bard.
On SoundCloud.
A fellow fan.
Exactly, of the Bard. So this is tagged Choked and Strangled, and it's off of a compilation called Asphyxie Cuts with a Z, Volume 7. And this is like, this one is more recent, I think, than the last one. And this is like some fucked up next level chopped and screwed kind of shit.
Oh, yeah, the album art is weird.
Yeah, it's like kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing anything right now.
Oh, this is the track, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what happens later with this waveform. It's really scary. I like it.
That's so good.
It feels like you're listening to something illegal.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking like also it's so like purely like the sound of like some internet shit, or like at least like, you know, the availability of digital technology. And like from time to time, I'm like, I should just delete Twitter. God, I don't want to be on the fucking internet ever again. And then I hear
I'm doing a jerk off.
I know, but
that.
I'm not doing that because I'm like trying to perform it. It's like legitimately because I'm like my brain is like I feel like shit all the time. You know what I mean? And then I hear something that, and I'm like, yo, that's why it's worth it. Everything we do, every like hour that I've spent talking about a 30-second Blink-182 song that I don't like and will never listen to again, it's like pays off in that moment.
Well, I think we got to get back into a little bit more reality. I shouldn't have started this with such vibed out music. So instead, I'm going to bring us to a little section of people rapping on the song.
Okay, cool. That's cool.
So this first guy's name is Timothy Darwin Steins. I wonder if that's his real middle name or if he's just trying to show it's like having a Darwin fish on your car. Or whatever.
Right. Yeah, just letting people know that he's down for the cause.
Yeah, so this is only a minute-long snippet. Do
you get offended when you see the Darwin fish? Like, does it rile you up?
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
That's my fish.
Yeah, exactly. More like Darluz.
I know that it's hard to even wake up, but it's harder when the shades have been pulled shut. I read this stupid poem every day, but every time I try to look you in the eye, you look away, and I know I fucked up. And I wish I could take it back, but that's the kind of shit we gotta push through to give the kids a type of life that we never had.
Whoa, there's some like metalcore in here.
This is so sick.
The rest of it's musical. That was very Andy Samberg sounding rap.
It was like extremely turtleneck and chain.
Like, yeah, but like track 15.
Right, yeah.
That you know, like, there's like a huge
Diaper Money
community
or
of people who
whatever.
have tattoos of it. Yeah. There's like people who have tattoos of it, but most people have never heard
I got that
it.
white pussy. Like, it is that vibe for sure.
Oh, let's not get into it. It'll go on forever. Okay, this one's not in English, so I don't know. I'm sorry if they say something offensive. This is Swelto, and it's from the album Equilibrio Emocional, which I believe means emotional equilibrium, is my guess. There's a long intro that I'll skip.
Cerco ancora sulle panchine quelle risposte. Le foglie cadono sotto gli occhi di tutti. Per le strade nascoste, le storie come giostre si confondono col vento, col tempo impareremo. Mia madre che mi chiama, il suo mondo è così fuori portata. Loro lì chiamano lavori. C'è stata un'inversione, valori fuori dal mondo. Non per scelta devo scindere i miei ruoli. Sopravvivo, non tocco il fondo dove condividi ciò che non condividi. Non vivi se vedi, non vivi.
Do you know what he's saying?
Yeah, but I don't want to tell you.
Okay, that's fair. Is it something about the Darwin fish?
Yeah. It's a whole. It'll set you off. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start making an embarrassing scene here for you to. If it's otherwise not embarrassing endeavor.
Everything about this is cool. We've got all these new friends here. Maybe they're probably coming. They skipped to the guest part. Yeah. We're all alone.
We should. When we get a big guest, we should start cutting up snippets of the conversation throughout the whole episode.
Oh, that's good. And now back to our interview with Mark Hoppus.
But then again, like, why would we be mad that they'd skip this part that is just basically the two of us, like, sitting in traffic together or something?
Yeah, you really offended, like, all... Well, no, you did put in some effort today. Like, you had to fix your modem. So don't... See, this is your problem, Josiah. You never big up yourself. You got to pump your tires a little bit here, you know?
It's true. That is true.
You work hard,
okay,
man.
Well, this is a double A key featuring Suge KBBF, and they've remixed Stay Together for the Kids, and they've subtitled it Born to Adult. So I think this is like an adulting, like,
this
a
is like you, man. This is the anthem for your big adult day.
Exactly. It's kind of like some Will I Am type rap music.
Totally. What kind of hot fire is Fergie going to drop here? This sounds so much like a Black Eyed Peas song now, though. You're right.
It's crazy.
It's just, yeah, what the fuck? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I mean, that was fucking terrible. I can't even joke about it. It's just awful. It makes me feel disgusting. But the rap section closes out with some, like, extremely aesthetic, only 11 months old type SoundCloud rap kind of thing, I think. This is Pretty Fuck Boy, but the fuck is spelled with a V and the boy is spelled with an I. So this is, like, definitely some e-boy music, if you know what I mean. Possibly to the point of being, like, there's too many signifiers where you're like, okay, this person is definitely going to become, like, a banker.
Right,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, this is just like a phase, but it sounds good for now. So this is produced by Curtains.
So I also just sent you the link to the music video for this song.
Oh my god!
Which is Pretty Fuckboy himself, kind of just hanging on the road, lounging with some pals.
Oh yeah,
smoking weed.
That's not allowed.
Well,
I like that he's wearing a Polaroid shirt too.
Yeah, and it's all got like some very what's the plug-in? Red whatever, you know?
Oh yeah, Red Giant.
It's very extremely Red Giant looking. It's like photos of factories.
He has one of those rooms where he, like, in his bedroom, he just, like, writes things on the wall because he clearly doesn't give a fuck.
This was always the coolest house to hang out in when you were in high school.
There's a lot of divorced energy from that house, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, kind of like it. Especially now that I've seen the video, it has a bit of a 100 gex vibe.
Yeah, the extra context made me really enjoy.
So that was Pretty Fuckboy.
The future banker.
I'm trying to imagine like someone trying to pronounce it but saying the V's out loud to show that they're really, really
right.
corny.
Right. People are like churches or whatever.
So there's churches. I think I side with churches on the churches hate breed Gojira debate of a couple weeks ago.
What was that debate? Somehow I missed this.
I missed it too. Like I was too late to post it, unfortunately. But Jamie Jasta from Hatebreed was like, who the fuck is Churches and why are they playing after Gojira? Don't they know that Gojira is like the sickest band ever? And then the girl from Churches, I can't remember her name, she was like, actually I've seen Gojira like 3 times and I love them. Maybe you should open your mind a little. She like dunked on Jamie Jasta.
That's amazing. I have no problem believing, like, Jamie Jasta, don't get me wrong, cool dude, love Jamie Jasta, but I have no problem believing that, yeah, like a Scottish person is cooler than him.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of extremely online things, have we ever talked about, like, there's those videos, and I wish I knew what the name of the genre was, but it started around the same time as Lo-Fi Beats to Study and Chill too, but there's a genre of videos where, like, you're listening to Toto by Africa in an abandoned mall.
Ballsoft, yeah.
Or our favorite one is, like, you're driving around, and it's actually a video, and you're in the rain, and they've edited it so you can hear the lightning and stuff, but you're driving around listening to Yellow by Coldplay in the rain, and it's actually, like, the most moving video I've ever seen in my life. It's so good. But this person, this is almost too perfect. What's his name is the user. This is uploaded in January. And this is the video. You're in your room listening to Stay Together for the Kids while your parents argue. And the description says, it's 2002. You just got home from school and missed your parents arguing about the divorce.
Oh, my God.
And then, so let's describe the image first so that we can really set the scene.
Yeah, so it's like a small, like, very high school, like, twin bed in the corner, still with, like, the sort of bedspread from when you were a kid. Like, it's, like, very childish. But then the walls got posters for, like, The Audition and Death Cab for Cutie, and We Are one of those bands.
Most of these bands, I have no idea who
this is
they
like
are.
Deep
this is
emo
like
shit. This is like if you...
It's like MySpace Records or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they all look that way.
Totally. Like, it still is... You could replace the bands with whatever, and it'd be anyone's room, I think. So this is what it sounds like. It's very stressful.
I don't like it. Now, maybe credit where credit's due, but it appears that this particular meme, well, this is I think the superior application of it, seems to originate with a video called "Your parents are arguing downstairs about divorce while you're crying, all while Mr. Brightside plays." And this has 2.5 million views to the sort of 1,000 or so for that.
And I think it's the same
That's what it is. It's the same fight. Because I clicked through to the fight.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
That's honestly pretty good.
The thing, I'm confused about quite a few things. First of all, the first video that we played, it mostly sounded like I could hear, like, contact mics and shit, and it was distracting me and making me realize, this is just some audio project. I wasn't, like, the Coldplay Yellow Rain driving one is so immersive. It's crazy. You feel like you're really in it. It's like some like, man, if you could put that in what's it called, VR goggles or whatever, it would be you'd be gone. You could make a Black Mirror episode about that. But then this one here, why is the Killers muffled if you're listening to it in your room? Or are your parents listening to it and fighting? Right,
they're trying to drown out their own fighting. Your parents are huge Killers fans.
They're like, I always thought you were Mr. Brightside. Don't you remember? Okay,
this is just the audio. That's what I'm saying. So this is the audio, which appears to be actual audio of someone's, like, neighbors fighting, and that is what has been used in both of these videos.
Oh,
so it is real fighting.
Ultimately, they should have cut out the contact mic noise at first.
That's what's throwing you off.
And secondly, is like the fact that it's a real fight is just like so gross and bad. I think I don't want to hear a real fight.
It's so uncomfortable.
Bummer.
Can you ever hear your neighbors fighting?
No, not really. Sarah heard our neighbors having sex once in the wee hours of the morning, but
titillating.
Ultimately, we can't really hear. Yeah, exactly. And the best part was that I was the one over there.
Hello.
No, just kidding.
So that divorce might be coming
Enough-
sooner rather than later for you, my man.
Enough about that, though. So I guess we'll just keep this part in, but we've been there's so many covers that we've just talked about, like a billion covers.
Yeah.
And we're
going to sound so much more tired. There's just going to be like a beep then me being like, yeah, it's cool. Blink-182, brah.
We just talked about like 60 incredible and awful covers of this song.
Yeah.
And Sam got incredibly high, but he's back to normal now.
I took drank some water, and I'm prepared to be very smart again.
But yeah, so if you want to hear us talk about all those, patreon.com/Blink155.
Yeah, don't forget I've also uploaded a Simple Plan Nightcore remix, so
right,
a lot of reasons to come behind the paywall this month.
Exactly, but there's still quite a few covers left, so just pray for us as we try to get through this.
Good fucking God.
It's been a long night, but this one I think will give you a little boost of energy because you were excited to see this band on here, and I've never heard of them, so I assume you're going to tell me who this band is.
Oh yeah, Slingshot Dakota. So this is like an insanely sick band. Originally, I guess from New York, like from Brooklyn, and they are still. Now they live in somewhere in like the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Gee, it turns out I know a lot about this band. So they're like a husband and wife duo, like keyboards, but like being like run through an amp and like distorted to shit, and then drums. And they just have like very, very perfect, like super strong pop songs, but that are like just incredibly kind of scrappy and DIY and like just like intimate sounding, like the sort of things that very easily could be like. I actually love Matt and Kim, but like could be Matt and Kim, but instead it's like the full on Still in the Basement version of that kind of like energy and like pop sensibility. And they're just like the nicest people in the world. Like Junior Battles has played with them a couple of times. And,
all right, that's enough. Let's play this song.
You asked, man. And I'm not like exhausted yet. This is a bonus for the fact that we're back in front of the paywall again.
It's true. Yeah, you see, that was your little pep. I just put some smelling salts in front of you.
Yeah, but you're like, now shut the fuck up. You've smelt enough.
But letting you talk about how nice these people are. So this is from the I Guess This Is Growing Up compilation we've played before that has Tur, Asleen, and Dads, and Invalids and stuff. So this is Slingshot Dakota, some nice friends of mine from Pennsylvania, playing Stay Together for the Kids on this compilation. Love it.
So good. I'll be honest. I bought this EP or whatever after the Wendy Clear episode where we played the Tear Asleen cover and we had previously played the Dad's Adam song cover, and I was like, this is all so sick. I just want to have this. And I was listening to it, and it's all like there's the Lions, Man Overboard, Invalids, Lemmings, and I got to the Slingshot Dakota song, and I was like, I hate Stay Together for the Kids, and I don't want to listen to this because like I love this band, and I don't want to like hate this thing. But I'm so glad that we were able to sort of cross this big sort of emotional bridge for me together. So thank you.
Yeah,
and I loved it. It was fun.
It was really good. It reminded me of like this band Ida that I used to see all the time because I used to tour with Pedro the Lion. It kind of just reminds me of that general era of like slowcore, quote unquote, music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool. Is the rest of their music like that, or is it?
No, it's
peppy?
like mostly like way peppier. That's why like that was shocking and sort of like an interesting version of it. But generally, yeah, they're not doing like Yeah, it's not like Cobalt or whatever. It's way more like, yeah, like kind of posy, fun, fast music with keyboards.
Cool. All right. Up next, in sort of a similar indie zone, is somebody named Pet Cemetery, and they appear to be from Newfoundland and Labrador.
Oh.
So, fellow, I don't know. I feel like whenever I call anything on that side of the country the Maritimes, someone gets mad at me and says, actually, it's not the Maritimes. So I don't know if it is or not. But
Right.
It's Canada, right?
Yeah, I think it's close enough. We can definitively say it's Canada. Although, I mean, also like the last province to join Confederation, like didn't Newfoundland just join in like 2002 or something?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know about this kind of shit.
I suspect there are some, Newfoundlanders who still feel, similar to Quebecers, that they, deserve to be their own nation. So I don't want to make any assumptions about the sort of political.
Well, here's what you should do. Let's decide if they should get to be their own nation or not, based on the quality of this cover. From Pet Cemetery.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I got to say, I think if Newfoundland, wants to, or Newfoundland, I never know what's that's where I'm fucked up. Newfoundland understand. That's what it is. Okay, so anyway, they should, the right to self-determination. Let them do
whatever they want.
Yeah, hell
that was beautiful. I love that this person didn't, do any obvious switching with, getting heavy or something. Everything was looped really nicely.
Yeah.
And it made it almost sound like Justin K. Broderick or something.
Yeah, it was sick. No, that was I love the vibe there. Before we move on, I do want to just revisit something very quickly. I offhandedly referred to Cobalt as a slowcore band, and it felt wrong coming out of my mouth. And while you were playing another cover, I did a quick Google, and Cobalt is a black metal band. The band I was referring to was Codeine.
Right, codeine, of course.
Yeah, it's just gonna be one of those things that was gonna bother me for a long time. So just go back, regret the error, and let's move forward.
Because codeine is the first band listed when you Google slowcore. I'm pretty sure.
I literally Googled slowcore to be like, what band am I fucking thinking of? And then I saw codeine, and I was like, that's what I meant.
Either way, glad we talked about that at length at this
point. This is important. Yeah, we want to make sure that everyone is welcomed in this episode.
I was gonna play this in the behind the paywall, but this really seems like something that needs to be played for the people who are here for Felix, because this is called, I think the band is called Will You Marry Me, but
I feel like it's a comp or something.
The comp is called God's Love for Hardcore. God's Love for Hardcore is maybe the label. Underground Christian Band Promotions from Orlando, Florida. Either way, this image is incredible.
This is so sick.
Some sort of militarized police force, doing fascism on a city, with it written it's designed like a rap mixtape, but it says God's Love for Hardcore.
Yeah, but with
goes undercover.
Deathcore kind of logo for God's Love for Hardcore, then goes undercover, looks like some knockoff NCIS show.
It's like deathcore and fascism through the filter of DatPiff.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's like if Pen and Pixel made some pro-military hardcore podcast. It also really looks like bad podcast art. If this was a true crime podcast about the militarization of American cities.
It's so good. So make sure you go to godsloveforhardcore.bandcamp.com and download this compilation. Please donate. Sick. Because this underground Christian band promotion company could use your money. So I guess this Christian band is called Will You Marry Me? Oh yeah, because it links to their Facebook. So this is a Christian band covering Stay Together for the Kids for militarized Dat Piff Pro Police Christian rock compilation. Here we go. Great drum making.
God does not love this drum sound.
This is why you gotta build the plexiglass in church around the drum.
Is this being recorded from in front of the plexiglass at church or something? Do you picture you feeling very at home right now?
Yeah, baby. That's very Under Oath 777, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't. I had one Under Oath album.
That's what they did. Instead of 666, they did 777
to
show that they were.
That's neat.
Okay, while we're in this like newfound embarrassing zone, keep in mind most of our listeners have not gone on the journey that we've just been on.
Yeah, it's just so
Patreon.
weird. It's one of those things where I just feel like something shocking has happened to me, and I have to like pretend that like everything's cool. You know, like you get some kind of like news that like fucks you up, and then you have to go and like do an interview or whatever. And you're like, oh, I guess I'll process that later, and I can't explain it to this person. It would take too much time. Like it would take the hour that you and I spent recording more covers. In what you experienced, good listener, as like the blink of an eye.
Blink, get it? Okay, this is sort of on the same vibe, and also this we've played this guy before, but with this song specifically, it seems so divorced. Like the energy of this video is so divorced.
He's wearing a
uploaded
Deadpool
1 week ago.
knockoff shirt that says "Dad Pool."
Exactly. So this is the Pop Punk Dad TV on YouTube, covering. And apparently there are little Blink-182 lyrical Easter eggs. And the Pop Punk Dad has done it in sort of a more arena rock style with 2 drum sets, which was also done in some other arrangement on like an MTV show or something. I don't know. There's some nerd lore to this. But ultimately I just watched this video and I think, damn, divorce is really bad. I think there's like a bike helmet with Rick or Morty on it in the background or something too. I mean, there's just a lot of like divorce vibes in here. I don't know the Pop Punk Dad's situation, but either way, divorce is really hard on the home.
Rick and Morty must be huge with divorce kids.
It's hard to wake up when the shades have been pulled shut. This house is haunted, it's so pathetic, it makes no sense at all.
There's so many toys and comic book posters in the background.
In my mind, this is what your office looks like.
I cannot wait to throw everything out tonight.
But you admit that this is what the room you're in right now looks like, right?
So here's your
Well, it's different posters.
So many Spider-Man posters.
Gave it all away, and it was mine.
Somehow he's made his electronic drums sound like a drunk drummer video from earlier.
Yeah. Maybe one channel is drunk and one channel is sober.
It's not right.
Anyways, divorce will really fuck you up if you're not careful.
It's like the journey you've been on now and is a fascinating one.
So this next one is like, this one just makes me so uncomfortable. The artist is called The Secret, and I feel like their logo suggests to me that they're they're called The Secret Band, but their logo just says The Secret, and I really do think, based on the logo and what this music sounds like, that they are based on the pop psychology religion The Secret. That's just the vibe I'm getting here.
Yeah, there's something very Wishcasty about that logo.
So let's listen to The Secret Band with their cover of Stay Together for the Kids, which just opens with so many seconds of silence. Thank you for that. Very good. you've just given away too much of your own personal information. I feel like I was being audited by that song.
Yeah, I felt like I was on hold or something, and I was like, "Oh, is this Blink-182? Sick."
The hold song when I was on hold for like 2 hours today because I broke my modem by researching this.
Yeah,
did kind of sound like Blink-182, and I was like, "Fuck my life!"
Just following you everywhere.
All right, I hate to say this, but we're coming close to the end here of our journey.
That mean?
I've got 3 left for you.
Okay.
This one, I was tempted not to play it because it's so awful, but it's like so awful that I have to play it. This band is called Pursuit Paradise. Their logo is definitely scrawled with ballpoint pen.
This is so
during detention.
Yeah, this is the most detention-ass logo.
It's so detention-y. And both of the eyes are dotted with a X-eyed smiley face, so you can't tell if it's Blink or Nirvana. But this is just truly next level. So here's Pursuit Paradise.
We are really bad singers. If you want to be our singer, please email us. Facebook or something.
We should email them.
I want to be your singer. This is from 8 years ago, though. And I think they've got some more problems than just the singing.
It's hard to wake up. The shades have been shut. This house is not so pathetic. It makes no sense at all. I'm writing things to say. Who's rotted all away. I student poems, you fix this wrong. I read it every day. So here's your holiday. Hope you enjoyed this time. Gave it all away. It was mine, so we went to get it done. Will you remember this night? One is now on. It's
The quiet parts sound exactly like the Modest Mouse B-sides compilation, Sad Sappy Sucker. But then, first of all, I can hear a mic being hit, I think, with the kick pedal or something.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a mic somewhere where it definitely shouldn't be. I'm so happy that you found their Facebook page, and they seem to have repurposed the Foo Fighters logo to write
so unfortunately Paradise. By the time they got to their Facebook years, they have like the Color and the Shape era, like literally the sort of cover art for that with Pursuit Paradise, which is unfortunate because this other one is so much more earnest, you know?
They're from Virginia Beach. Where's that? I don't know. But they've written, "We still need vocals and a rhythm guitarist. Message me if you'd like to be in the band." Well, here's their biography. Well, Jimmy met Clayton. They jammed. Then Jimmy found out that Clayton knew Joe, and Jimmy knew Joe since like first grade. Then Joe played bass. Then they all jammed, and some great music was created. I wish there was like a major label that just signed these kinds of bands.
Yeah, because this is the only music that I want to listen to.
Right.
I think we should message them about being in the band.
Yeah, I will. I will right now.
Okay.
Are you still looking for a vocalist and rhythm guitarist?
Because we could both join.
I can do both.
Yeah, or like.
And I have I have an acquaintance.
Thank you.
Acquaintance who might also be interested if the dollars are right.
Yeah.
Okay, sick.
I appreciate you making clear that my interest is strictly financial.
Well, I don't want to fuck around with your bag, as they say.
Yeah. Oh my god, my bag is. It's fine, man. It's just so hot here.
My bag is sweaty as hell right now.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm full Josiah right now. I'm just so
naked.
Yeah, I'm naked in the middle of my house.
Okay, we got 2 left. This one I can't resist. I cannot resist an adorable British teen in their bedroom. We all know this. I tried to resist it, and I was just like, you know what? Casey Coolio, who uploaded this in March 2019. you're just a dream. You're absolutely incredible.
Looks like a kid from a movie about like a precocious, like
exactly
wisecracking, old soul of a kid.
It's like if the kid from 8th grade was like actually really cool and everyone loved them and had no social awkwardness, it would be this person. Like this kid is
That's such a good way of yes,
because
absolutely.
This is just so like also UGC. Like the first frame is the person reaching to grab the camera, and it's just so fucking adorable. Oh, it's so heartwarming. I'm gonna stop talking and play it now. So this is Casey Coolio.
It's just my cover of Stay Together for the Kids by Blink-182. It's hard to wake up when the shades have been pulled shut. This house is haunted, it's so pathetic, it makes no sense at all. I might be things to say, the words rot and fall away. If a stupid poem can fix this home, I read it every day. So here's your holiday. Hope you enjoy this time. You gave it all away. It was mine. So when you're dead and gone, will you remember this night? 20 years now lost. It's not right.
Oh,
It's
good
not
Lord.
right. I love it.
It's so good. It's kind of like that movie Once, where I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna like this movie. This looks fucking so cheesy as hell. I'm not gonna be into this." And just how can you like people who are just even remotely British who start singing with an acoustic guitar? You're like, how can I resist this? You're so adorable.
Yeah. Also, the Max Res default is like sort of her face put onto the boomer face, but it's sort of like chopped up like a Terrence and Phillip cartoon, so that you still have the sort of
Exactly.
sort of
When I clicked
illusion
it.
of a mustache. It's like very confusing to look at.
When I first clicked it, I was expecting it to be something really zany that we would dunk on, and then instead my cold heart was melted by the adorableness of British teens, as usual.
Yeah, it's no surprise there.
So the final one is actually kind of weird. It's from, you're a big Docman, I know. I've never seen this doc, and I don't even know how to say it out loud. I think it's called Restrepo?
Yeah, I haven't seen this, but yeah, this was like an Afghanistan doc, right? Yeah,
it's like
Restrepo. Yeah.
A huge Afghanistanian,
yeah.
which is kind of an interesting journey because obviously the music video arguably caused 9/11 when it was shot, and then 9/11 helped America launch the Afghanistan war, and then full circle, this documentary, I guess, like at a climax of the film. And I actually downloaded the film a whole bunch illegally, thinking that it wouldn't be on YouTube, and then I just searched it, and it is on YouTube. So my computer's been through a lot today because of this episode. But yeah, so I guess there's not much to this except that one of the soldiers plays it on an acoustic guitar while it's kind of showing everyone's face and showing all this evocative imagery. So it's very emotional. But you're just going to hear the acoustic guitar if you're listening. But yeah, so this was in this doc, and I guess it was like... seems to have been a pretty huge doc.
Yeah, this was a big thing, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like the kind of doc I would watch. I only like documentaries where they're like, oh, the quaint Scrabble community is having a little
that Scrabble
squibble.
doc is amazing, though.
Okay, this is Restrepo. Basically, it was just like beautiful landscapes, and then people thinking about the cost of war.
Yeah, it's like long, evocative shots of people.
While someone plays an acoustic version of a Blink-182 song. Like, if you're shooting a doc and someone starts playing something like that and you're like, shit, this is going to be perfect, but, like, could you just change a few notes so we don't have to license this?
Yeah, this is going to really fuck up our budget. We're a small documentary. Like, just the idea. So that film was nominated for an Oscar, and just, like, I wish that a film that's climactic, like emotional moment, was scored by Blink-182 could be Oscar winning. But maybe the Oscars aren't totally ready for Blink yet.
Yeah, especially for Blink's divorce anthem.
Yeah, it's too strong. We know that the Oscars are always like a decade or two behind any sort of important social movement. And so perhaps this year they will finally acknowledge in the in memoriam segment relationships that have died due to divorce, destroying 50% of American homes.
So my final thought on the song is that I feel very feverish right now from discussing it for over 3 hours in a windowless room.
Yeah, like, there's just the idea that, like, the particular way you and I have experienced time over the last 3 hours will not be anyone else's experience of it unless you are already behind the paywall and you, like, pause the episode. But I'm telling you to do something, like, way too late. So unless you thought to do that, in which case, like, good for you. That's, like...
Somehow you knew that the cut was there, and we did that cut.
Right.
And then...
Yeah, I don't know how, but, like, you just sort of sensed a sort of shift emotionally, and you're like, I'm going to listen to this Lucy and see what happens here. And then you can kind of, like, piece together this experience. Otherwise, this is like watching Memento. Like, I just feel... I feel like this has been like a journey that no one will understand until they've consumed all of the content in the wrong order. I don't know. And that's what I think about Stay Together for the fucking kids.
And here's Felix. Welcome to Blink-155, somebody who's kind of like been orbiting the Blink-182 universe, and I feel like without even realizing you've been sort of like flirting with us, making us feel like we're validated through your tweets lately. But
hey, you know, I don't consider myself, you know, a hero, but you know, give people the strength to go on that way. Shit,
exactly.
Whatever, you know.
So we got Felix Biederman here. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I feel like it's really embarrassing and corny to just be like, let's talk about your tweets out loud. But really what's going on is you have, I feel like you switched a few years ago and stopped tweeting about Hobson so much and started tweeting about Blink-182. And I'm kind of curious, like, is Blink-182 the rock Hobson to you?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, kind of, I don't know. Okay. Well, I feel like there's like more performance in Hobson than there is in Blink-182. Though I don't know, maybe that's not fair because there's obviously a shitload of performance in Blink-182. But I think that like the difference is when Blink-182 would talk about like society and politics, there isn't like the same judgmentalism. There isn't the same like conservatism that you get in Hobson, right? Because when you listen to Hobson, what do you get? You get like he's like, you're all fucking idiots, you know. You don't know about the Federal Reserve or whatever the fuck he talks about, right? And with Blink-182, they're like, we want to talk about society too, but divorce, teens, like basically everything that happened to me when I was 15, and then nothing else. And then the thing that I actually love about Blink-182, the guys in it, okay. People make fun of Angels and Airwaves, right? Because it's like, how the fuck are you going to form like a spin-off band that's just the same people, right?
Yeah.
But no, that shit's sick. That shit's fucking sick, and I'll tell you why. Because they were like, this is how Andrew from E1 put it. It's like, they're like, I don't want to be like 42 singing about, you know, drinking Smirnoff at the carnival when I'm 17. I want to talk about this real adult-ass shit. And... you know, they're true they're true as shit to themselves. That's why, like, so when I started like posting about Blink-182 a lot, it got such a fucking massive response that I never expected. Then I realized that like everyone likes them, like to the varying degrees of irony, but everyone does like them.
Well, I think they are the perfect band for the sort of weird place that we're in culturally right now where no one knows if they're being ironic or not anymore, because they are incredibly funny, but also they're just like incredibly sick and have great songs.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they're funny in this way that doesn't like invalidate them. Like there's a self-seriousness to it because there's a self-seriousness to everything. And a special type of self-seriousness that's more evident in things made before, like I'd say 2011, 2012, that we now find, like, we all couch in making fun of it, but honestly, we all miss.
Right.
And yeah, those songs fucking rule.
So before we get deeper into that, I'm a little curious about your own. Like, I truly cannot figure out from following you for so long, like, what kind of music you're into, and sort of like, did you go to shows when you were younger? Were you ever too cool for Blink-182 or anything?
I mean, I thought I was. Like my brother and sister are like significantly older than me, right? Like they got me into like some pretty cool shit. My mom bought me like a Clash album, like on like a Clash. I guess it was a CD. I was gonna say it was on. I thought it was on vinyl, but then I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't have a fucking record player. Right. So like, when I was like 12, I was like, Blink-182 isn't real punk. It's the fucking Clash. Right. So I sucked as a kid. But anyway, no, I guess that I for a lot of my youth, I listened to things that were technically cooler, I guess. And then,
but like what? Like I want to know. Like I want to know. Like when you were like 18, what did you like tell girls about or something?
When I was 18, I was talking more about like Blink-182. I feel like they were at their peak when I was like 13, 14, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when I was 13, 14, what the fuck did I listen to? I listened to like more rap than anything, honestly. Yeah. I still love the Clash. I actually like Black Sabbath a lot. That's what every like embarrassing fat 13-year-old likes. But when I was 18, I mean, I listened to a lot of fucking Wayne. Like every white kid my age did, right. And everyone else actually. What am I talking about? He was like, it cannot be overstated how fucking culturally weighty Wayne was in 2007. Totally. 2008, 2009. But I actually I heard Blink-182 like a lot, like anyone growing up in any of the Great Lakes states and anywhere in the Midwest, anywhere at that time.
Yeah.
I never really thought that much about them until like a couple of years ago, honestly.
And so what was like the switch for you?
I think I had like heard them for the first time when I was like 13, and you have this like shitty middle school resentment that's like, oh, like someone who like hot girl who is like rude to me, like Blink-182. I bet that they're the fucking mean girl band, the dumb extrapolations you take at that age that I guess is like actually everyone does now with literally every form of media. Right. Like how somehow David Foster Wallace is like a frat bro author now, which I've never gotten. But yeah, so they were just sort of like passively on in the background through most of my like early adolescence, and then like I was trying to get into like quote unquote cooler shit when I was like 19, 20. So and that the concept of like ironically listening to them or whatever wasn't a thing yet,
right?
And I don't know how. I think it was like, yeah, okay. I actually know exactly what the fuck it was. I somehow remembered this. It was last year. I was watching a streamer I like play Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and I just faintly heard "I Miss You" on in the background. And I was like, "That's so funny. That's so fucking funny." And so, like, for when I would play games, I put it on my playlist, and I was like, this is kind of good, man. I just started posting about it nonstop for like a year, I guess.
It is. It's the kind of like, it's exactly what I was saying earlier. That song specifically is like, we all started off making fun of the "Where are you?" Yeah. And then we're just kind of like, oh shit, this is actually really good.
And it's, why we make fun of it, because it's like that song. You guys talked about it a billion fucking times, but like that song you want to make fun of it because you don't ever want to admit that you felt that way, and maybe you'll feel that way again, of just like that feeling of being broken up with, where you're just like pressing your cock into your mattress naked, just like sort of pressing your nude body into it, waking up, just constantly, just like a baseline of pain, just fucking whining, just pre-crying all day, and you're like, yeah, I've never felt like that. But that's why that song's so good. It takes like one of the most disgusting, least symmetrical feelings, and makes it actually like a very pleasing song to hear.
Right. I think it's okay. So I'm getting, based on context clues, I think you're more of a Tom DeLonge guy than a Mark Hoppus guy. Is that fair to say?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
Have you paid any attention to his like alien research company that he's launched?
No, he was in the Clinton emails, and he was talking to John Podesta, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's in there. I mean, there's really nothing to it except that he just wrote John Podesta an email with the subject line "Tom DeLonge here," which I would love to get that email. I'd love to get that email one day. But yeah, I personally think that, I mean, people love to dunk on Tom, but he's just like, the thing about him, why he's so funny and why he's also such a great artist, is that he's just so painfully earnest in every way.
Yeah, he's like, man, you could. I mean, like, yeah, he. I feel like there is like a new form of celebrity that happened in the past few years, where it was like, celebrities' handlers became people who like sort of came up through this semi-ironic, like generalized web culture we've had since 2012.
Right.
To cause celebrities to like consciously market to this sort of mid to late millennial set of ideals of mostly being above it all, but you get earnest when you need to be. You like a lot of things that are before your time. To what degree of irony, it's never clear. You never explain.
Yeah.
You just throw you're just throwing them fast and loose out there, right? You're just tossing softballs. You're just throwing fast and sloppy fucking softball pitches. And if they don't hit, great. Hey, I don't really give a shit. And if they do hit, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for, actually.
Exactly.
And Tom rocks because even if you got him the best team of cynical millennial or Zoomer handlers, he could never do that. Right. He's out there being him all the time.
Yeah, like I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but he'll be like, I'm wearing my Ford trucker hat and my Nike SBs to a meeting with Department of Defense contractors. I guess you could say I've still got too much punk rock in me, or whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's fucking God. What a great guy, man.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh man.
Whereas I think Mark wants to be like Weird Twitter, kind of.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he's doing the line break shit, but there's also there's something I respect about that too, because there was in 2012 there was like the weird Twitter style everyone knows, like the line break shit, like
cop starts breakdancing,
right? Like I'm Airbud waiter. There's no rules that say a dog can't order in this restaurant.
Yeah.
That type of bullshit. And then it all it all changed, and like people sort of became like they either like all right, I have to notch it up an irony level, or I've got to like sort of get serious, and I'm just got to make these declarative tweets that are like, America is in the middle of a fucking hangover, and we're arguing between people who want to drink more and people think maybe we have a fucking problem, and just people pretending they have any idea what's going on. But if you still tweet, like if you're in 2019, August 2019, you're like, Alien, where's Airbud? It's like, you know what, man, you're being true to yourself.
That's kind of true. Like there's at any given moment, he could still drop a Harambe reference, but it's always between the irony. Like it's between the windows where it makes sense to be doing that again.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those things where it's endearing for exactly the person who's doing it. Like if the fucking Ben Shapiro drops a Harambe meme today, I'll be like, fuck you fucking suck. You're so fucking unfunny. Go fuck yourself. But if Mark Hoppus did it, I'd be like, nice, dude.
Right. Because it's Mark Hoppus. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, before we get to the song, I have one more question that I've kind of been thinking about a lot lately, which is like, I grew up going to punk shows, and I've been over it for a long time, but I feel like in the American political sphere right now, everyone for some reason is obsessed with like seeming like they have punk cred. Like you've got Beto on one side, but then there's every day there's some new person saying being conservative is the new punk rock as well. So I don't know, why does punk cred matter in 2019? It's such a antiquated idea.
I think because we're in sort of this we're in this horrible obfuscated version of the 80s where it's not like, in some ways it's better than the 80s, in some ways it's quite worse. But so instead of having like, you know, this brain damaged president who it's mostly obscured through his first term how degenerate his brain is, it's just out there. He's just out there staring at the fucking sun, being like, condolences to the to people in New Orleans, I guess. There's heavily, you know, I guess this never changed. We have a completely finance run economy that's running on fumes and making very few people very rich, and everyone's told the economy is great. We have a very opaque, corrupt government, you know, all 80s shit. And I think that, but because it's not Reagan, you know, Reagan did win in landslides. It's this guy who like lost the popular vote. There isn't even this decisiveness. Everyone goes insane because it's kind of like everyone lost. Conservatives have to deal with the fact that like there are guys in there, but everyone fucking hates him. So they're like, oh, that's actually punk as shit. That's when no one wants you to be. And libs, of course, are always the Gen X credo is like, you know, it's punk to pay your mortgage.
Right.
That's the lib thing. That's the Beto thing. So and it's also because it's like a shortcut for like a type of authenticity that's cool.
Right.
Which doesn't exist. That's not a real fucking thing. Nothing's cool. You could just easily make fun of punk in 5 minutes, and all these Xers and older millennials will be like, actually, it sucks. I've never liked it.
Right.
Well, what are you going to do? You're going to change your life. You're going to change your life at age 35. You're going to dress a different way because you want to be like some guy with some disease from licking the ground at CBGB's named like Jerry Vomit. Who fucking cares, brother? And they'll be like, I've actually never liked that trash. Yeah. They're too self-conscious.
That's very true. Just like covering up a Fugazi tattoo. Just
right.
Because it does seem it's not even like the edgy punk. It's like, yeah, I know who Ian MacKaye is. You should vote for me. And we're like, who doesn't know who fucking Ian MacKaye is?
Right, exactly. Like I'm friends with somebody who's in like a real fucking punk band. He was also a Halo competitor. But yeah, my buddy Chet. Shout out Chet.
Shout out Chet.
But he's like he knows a shitload about punk and all this, but it's like that type of punk but he's not like an affected person. He just does it because he thinks it's fun.
Yeah.
He has beliefs surrounding it, but he's not like a super self-serious, like affected person. He's like an actually very fun dude.
Right.
And the Ian MacKaye thing is perfect because you get to pretend to be that, but I'm sure I don't know anything about him really, but he seems like an okay guy, I'm sure. But it's like there is like this self-seriousness you can carry while also being cool. It's you don't have to choose what type of person you are. So you're like, it's like when you're a kid, when you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to be an NFL quarterback, and then during the off season, I'm going to be a surgeon.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, it's like it was shorthand before we realized that we all like the same things because of Twitter and everything. It was shorthand, right. Like I'm in this exclusive club. But now we realize like, oh, literally everyone like is aware of who Ian MacKaye is and about like $5 shows or whatever. I mean, it reminds me of, and I think that's why I'm drawn back to Blink-182 after my time in the wilderness of trying to be cool for 10 years or 15 years is like, I saw this guy who's like a 50-year-old record collector on Facebook talking about this obscure crust punk record. And he's like, the air bombers that they've put in the sky are actually from a different war than the one depicted on the cover of this punk record. I'm just like, I can't cope with this anymore. I just want to hear the hits. But anyways, so you what really struck me was you've already mentioned it. Stay Together for the Kids was raising awareness about divorce when no one else would.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is it about this song that kind of speaks to you?
It's, so I Miss You. I feel like I Miss You is clearly like, it could be, it's the end of a relationship that could happen anywhere from I'd say 15 to 23. Right. Like those are like the somewhat acceptable ages where you could just be like, right. Yeah. But Stay Together for the Kids is like, all right, my parents separated when I was like, I was 16. And I didn't really feel that, like, you obviously you freak out a little bit or you feel sad, but like the gravity that he fucking, I mean, I guess I shouldn't speak for everyone. It can be different, I guess, if your parents, like, someone's abusive to one another or whatever, there's big fights or whatever. So I shouldn't speak for that. Right. But it became an anthem for like suburban kids and like kids of a certain milieu similar to mine, where it's just like, they're just like not in love in that way anymore. And it's over. Okay. And then that just this, here's your fucking holiday is because actually, a big part of like being a middle class to upper middle class kid is like looking for something to be affected about. Yeah, totally. Divorce is affecting to any kid in any way, and it doesn't matter on how good terms it happens, whether how acrimonious it is. It's still jarring for a kid, of course. But this song's perfect because it's just like it just turns the dial all the way up. That's what Blink-182 does so well, because like so much of the quote unquote real punk that I talk about is, you learn that the people who went to the same school as you, who you always thought they were way richer than you, have moved to a big city and are like living in a punk squat and pretending that they or creating problems for themselves so that they have this like edginess. Whereas Blink-182 said like the pain you're feeling in your cul-de-sac is also valid. Yeah. I mean, like, okay, so I like heard Eminem for the first time when I was 8. I've actually always fucking loved Eminem. But yeah, when I would listen to it, like, okay, Eminem was, if 9/11 had never happened, our culture would be 20 irony levels above where we were, because look what fucking happened to Eminem. He was like on the cutting edge of irony in the late 90s, and then 9/11 happened, and slowly, eventually he's like, I'm going to fucking rehab, But okay, when I first heard Eminem in like 90, when I was 8 or 9, like in 1999, I'd obviously never really heard irony like that, like as vicious. Like I had heard, I'd obviously watched The Simpsons and tons of other shit, but you don't really get The Simpsons when you're 8. But this was unmistakable. Right. But like the parts of the song where he's like, if my dad fucking sees me on the cover of stores, suck my dick, fuck you, fuck my mom, my girlfriend's family hates me, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm fucking stupid. Like, you'd never heard anything like that. But I remember being like a very vivid memory of being 9 and like sitting in front of my TV, like the TV in the TV room, and thinking like, yeah, that's what, oh, right. And then just like looking at my house and realizing my dad was like coming home from his job and my mom was making dinner. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I like can't really relate to any of this. That sucks. And I was kind of gaming out scenarios where one day I would be able to be like, this song would be true of me, which is such a weird thing. But I feel like people like when people hear a piece of music they really like, they do want to relate to it. I think I was just like a weird kid. And I was like, what conditions would I have to meet to be like Eminem? But I think whether it depends on how conscious or not that desire was when people were kids or maybe older. When they heard Blink-182, maybe not as viciously ironic or cool seeming as Eminem was in 1998. But they're like, well, I don't really have to strain to like this, Yeah, it's true. I can kind of relate immediately to the line, "What stupid poem could fix this home?" Yes, yeah. You mentioned 9/11, which I try not to bring up 9/11 on every single episode, but they shot the video for this song on September 8th, and
or September 9th and 10th, 2001, and there was like a house being destroyed in it, and then 9/11 happened. They're like, oh fuck, we got to reshoot this video.
That was one of the dumbest things. Like with 9/11 was just like there were obvious things like in Metal Gear Solid 2, the World Trade Center does get destroyed, and it was produced and in post production before the events of 9/11, and so they had to take that out. Like obvious things like that, but just like there are a million things that are lost to the sands of time. Like people would be like, yeah, there was a scene in like people would be like, oh yeah. In whatever dumb shit romantic comedy, we have to take out this shot of like a small explosion because it's too much like 9/11. Yeah. You know,
I remember people trying to say that the cover of Wilco Yankee Hotel Foxtrot was like, they're like, it was released on 9/11 and it has 2 towers, and like I think it was released like a year later, but we just didn't keep tabs as well back then, so they just kind of made it all up.
Yeah, what a bad time.
It really
what a fucking bad time, man.
Actually, on the cover of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, there's a plane and there's the pants that people have said are shaped like the 2 towers.
Yeah, right.
Like 9/11 really fucked over Blink, especially, I think. But anyways, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about this song?
I don't know. You know what? So I listen to. I call them like, I guess it'd be like the big 3 of Blink-182 songs, because they're the songs that people like are now not embarrassed to admit kind of like fucking go. It's I Miss You, Damn It, and What's My Age Again. Right. Like those are all like you could just say like, yeah, straight up like, yeah, no, I like this shit. But then there's the next 2. And these are the ones where you still have to like pretend that you're like totally ironically enjoying them. And I would say that's Adam's song and Stay Together for the Kids.
Right. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You've been tweeting like Adam's song like crazy also.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But like Adam's song, like honestly, man, when did Adam's song come out? What, like
2099, I think.
99. Dude, no one was talking about this shit. Now people are barely smart enough to be like, yeah, we need psychology awareness. And Blink was just like, here's a fucking suicide song. Right. Like a real ass, not this fucking dumb 70s shit where it's like, baby, I'm going to kill myself. Oh, baby, let's smoke a sexy joint and kill ourselves. Like that fucking bullshit. It was the real shit. It's about someone they know killing themselves. It was like, it's like no one was doing that. You gotta, I make fun of it with Stay Together for Your Kids, but legit, no one was fucking doing that shit. Song Fair. About teen suicide like that, as straight up as that. That's the only way you can really get through to Americans. You gotta be fucking, we want to be direct with each other.
That's true.
And pop punk is so direct.
It's so direct. I think it goes without saying, but is there anything specific you want to plug right now?
Episode 1, makeup show for the flooding, the show that was flooded on August 10th at the Bell House in Brooklyn. That's all.
Perfect.